Tips, good bros im Mib, kommen sie weit. Doberlip weit, wo muss ich zu? Doberlip weit. Find out a baby might provide. Loves a wheel, doubts a wheel, got me down but so wide. Find out a baby might provide. Down a wheel, dumps a lip, never swim, don't cry. Doberlip wide, Doberlip wide, almost it zoom. Doberlip wide. Find out a baby might provide. Birds of will, doubts of will, got me down but so wide. Find out a baby might provide. Doubt of will, dumps a live, never swim, come right. Me back. Stop him. positive, opposite me. Clumsy wife, clumsy wife. Double lip cry, almost it. Double lip wife. Find out a baby might grow by. Birds of will, doubts of will. Don't be dumb but so wise. Find out a baby might grow by. Doubt of will, dumb to live. Never swim, don't cry, cry, cry. Proud, give me boo.
Fagara being lonely. Yan iba templamina her body donk. Kimana si but she my face. Hasi be perfect if I walk. Sa up now if a bit for you. Ina herfa. Oh my uncle little bit free. Sleep a little bit more. Be like some old by. Oh my, look a little bit wavy, sleep a little bit murky, leaks a mobile bag, yeah.
From the very first days of this project, the objective the team rallied around was to surpass player expectations for freeing the babies. Now, our vision to accomplish that was to add infants as an entirely new age, resulting in a much more natural progression through Sims' early stages of life.
When you add a new life stage to The Sims, there are a lot of challenges. We had to figure out how to display the infant, since they're too young to stand on their own. We tried a lot of ideas. Some worked great, some didn't work so great, and a few were just plain creepy.
We created a lot of new technologies. So now in the game, while holding an infant, you are able to sit down while still holding them. You can also talk to them, nurse them. You can even give your infants to another Sim.
Since infants are just starting to develop their motor skills and figure out how to move their limbs and wait around, you'll see they tend to flop around with over-exaggerated, uncoordinated movement. A great example of this is how they transition from sitting to laying on their back.
I got to animate the crawl up and down of the step. I really wanted the player to kind of see the thought process of their infant here, since they move with such a singular focus. So they'll take a moment to notice the step, and then they start to break it down one tiny movement at a time till they've overcome this obstacle and can continue on their way. Definitely challenging, but also super cute.
When creating the voice for the infant Sim, we had the unique challenge of finding a voice that was realistic, but one that was still cute when making distressing vocalizations, like crying or whining. The cute checkbox was definitely checked.
The infant has to be able to be fully customizable from head to toe. We added new various infant clothing, shoes, hair, hats, accessory, glasses, infant teeth, and birthmarks.
One area that we leaned into was adding more ways to socialize and play between children, toddlers, infants, newborns, and yes, of course, even cats and dogs. We want all of our Sims to share in the fun when these adorable infants arrive in-game.
Be sure to check out all those fun activities you can do with your infants and create your own hilarious and adorable moments.
Cool blue. Kubeba Chobaba. Chobaba.
Greetings, Simmers. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Simguru Frost, and before we get started today, I just wanted to share a little bit about our live stream, as it will be slightly different from our previous pack live streams. So as you can see on screen, we'll be driving today's live stream with two segments. The first segment will cover the base game Infants Update with hosts Simguru Graham and Simguru Morgan. Followed by that, we'll have our second segment of today's stream, which will cover the next expansion pack, The Sims 4 Growing Together, with hosts Grimsuru Doi and Simguru Morgan. And so with that, I'm going to kick it off to Simguru Graham and Simguru Morgan to get us started.
All right. Thank you, Frost, for that nice welcome. And a big welcome to all of our Sims fans tuning in today. Now, if you haven't met me previously, I am Simguru Graham. I'm our lead producer on Infants, and joined in the studio today by Simguru Morgan.
Hi, I'm a producer on Infants and also Growing Together.
Yeah, so for the first part of our stream today, it's going to be a two-part stream, like Frost mentioned. We are diving into all of the great stuff that is coming your way with our free base game update for Infants, which of course is a brand new life stage coming to The Sims 4 on March 14th. So we've got some special guests that are going to be joining us today as well. We'll have them calling in throughout the broadcast, but we'll be speaking with Simguru Lakshmi, our lead designer on Infants. We'll also be chatting with Steph, one of our infant concept artists. And finally, we'll be also chatting with Simguru Nova, another member of the Infants and Growing Together production team. So with that said, we've got about little over 2 hours of live streaming content for you today. Settle in, get in a comfy chair, grab a good drink, and let's get right into it.
So today we're going to start off in the pancake household with Bob. He's very excited to see you all.
He is very excited. That is the happiest I've ever seen Bob. When we were loading in today, I was like, wow, Eliza sure looks cheerful today. And whew, Bob's even happier. So I think we're set up for a fun stream today.
So you might notice there doesn't appear to be an infant in this household. There's a lot of infant stuff around, though.
Yeah, and you are going to get a lot of new objects coming with this update as well. So it's not just the infants, but a lot of cool content that you could use to build and decorate a nursery as well.
So I've decorated the house with it, but we also have it laid out for everyone to really look at everything. So let's just take a look at everything that's coming for free.
Yeah, this is floor 1 of 2.
Floor 1 of 2.
Yeah, lots of little adorable things, right? I'm really excited about the bassinet. It's actually the first bassinet, I'm sure many of you will know, that we've added to base game since it launched way back when. So that'll be a really great addition. But look at all the cute stuff coming.
Little llamas. I guess they're not little, are they?
No, those are quite big llamas.
Big llamas. These are bookshelves, so you can use those. And I'm gonna go into build mode really quick to show off this one. These actually all have variants as well. I just haven't placed out all of their variants. This one in particular, I like the little animals on it.
Yeah, it's so cute.
But yeah, these all also have variants here. Over here, we actually have 3 new toys that come with unique audio for them. So I thought that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're like sensory development toys. We'll see an infant play with them a little bit later.
And then before we head on up to the next floor, I wanted to point out how cool I think these rugs are. The dinosaur one's my favorite.
And all those adorable patterns.
And these are also my new favorite rug, I think, as you can probably see over here, because I've decorated literally every room with them. Here, yeah.
Yeah, perfectly handy.
Yeah, I put them everywhere. Anything else you want to look at on this floor?
Well, what's out back there, Morgan?
Oh, yeah. that.
Yeah.
So these are our new playpens here. So it's a fence. You can use it as a fence and however you'd like. There's a lot of different color options. And I think we're gonna look at it during the next part of the stream, but you can also childproof these.
Yeah, so they've got a new baby proofing option, which is a type of lock that'll keep your infants and toddlers from going through. But essentially, you could set that on any door, on any gate in the game. We just wanted to give you one that looked perfect for our new infants.
Trying to find an actual door here. Yeah.
Yeah, apply baby proofing.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
let's
there's
hop,
some fun gameplay with that too.
let's hop up to floor number 2.
Cribs.
Because boy, do we have a lot of cribs for you coming in this update.
Yeah, a lot of these might seem somewhat familiar because they match the other furniture pieces we have for children and toddlers and like their categories. So they'll match that and you can make a matching nursery with all those furniture pieces. But we also have some new ones that are kind of different here.
Yeah, I love that the cribs have a little bit of different functionality depending on what you want to use them for. So, like the one closest to us has actually been converted into a toddler bed. It's one of the upgrades that Sims can perform on some of our cribs so that the furniture ages along with your Sim as they grow up in your household. On the far end of the room, though, we've got our travel crib, and I really like this one as well. You can actually live drag it around, place it in a Sims inventory, bring it with you to other locations. So you always have a place for your infant to grab a little rest on the go.
Yeah. And then we'll also look at some other upgrades in a little bit later for these.
Yeah, but for right now, boy, it's going to be hard to do a live stream today, Morgan, if we don't have an infant in our family.
Yeah, that's too bad that we don't. That's actually for a reason though. We wanted to show off something new that we're adding also for base game called Science Baby. So it's a social interaction, but you can also go to your phone and you can choose to have a science baby with somebody, either by yourself or with another Sim. So we're going to go ahead and click on this. And you might notice that options are appearing here for Sims that you also don't have a romantic relationship with, which is really cool because it lets you kind of tell whatever story you'd like here, whether it be a surrogacy story or something, or yeah, there's a lot of different stories you could tell with this.
Yeah, I know. Like the first time I heard Science Baby, I was like, oh, what's that? But it's really this broad term that captures a lot of new possibilities for stories that you can tell. So whether it's a same-sex relationship, whether it's something platonic, whether it's a surrogacy, like you mentioned, there's all these types of stories that you just weren't able to tell in The Sims 4 previously. And now all of that's possible, which is such a great addition when you think about it.
So for this live stream, Eliza doesn't really want to have a baby with Bob. She's going to have one with her friend Bella. They do have to be some degree of friends, but they are. So Bella agreed. And Eliza's going to go off now and have a science baby. We say yes. And whenever they have a science baby, they won't go through. I think it'll be sort of an instant thing because it's science.
Yeah, the magic of science.
So fast forward a moment here. And I've actually had twins before this way as well.
Oh, we'll see if we get lucky today.
So it's a girl. We'll name her Amelia Pancakes. And she's up here in the new bassinet.
There she is, cute little Amelia. And she's actually looking a little bit different. I think many of you tuning in today likely know our newborns in The Sims 4 have been a bit limited in terms of their appearance in the past. In fact, we only had 3 natural skin tones they could select from. But with the update that's coming, our newborns now have the same range of skin tone possibilities as all of our other Sims in game. So they're a much more natural addition to your family right from the get-go. And we made some other improvements as well. They now have their correct genetic eye color. We've changed a bit about their overall appearance and the way that they move, just to skew them a little bit younger. They really do represent those first few days of coming from home from the hospital now. But to talk a little bit more about improvements we made to our newborns, because it's not just aesthetic, why don't I invite Sim Guru Lakshmi to join in and tell us a little bit more about the changes to them.
Hi, yeah. We did quite a few different things to help our newborns fit into into the game a little better. The first thing we did was we smoothed out caring for newborns. So now Sims can continue holding them and seamlessly transition between interactions. And also, a caregiver will automatically respond when they are crying. If you have a weather, we've added compatibility so that newborns will react to being outside in storms or extreme temperatures. They'll cry and let you know they're unhappy about that. The show off to interaction is a little easier to complete as well, and it now allows you to show a toddler their new sibling. Children and toddlers actually got a new interaction called entertain, which allows them to be silly and spend a bit of quality time with the new family edition. And then one more tweak we made was how long it takes a newborn to automatically age up into an infant. Since this stage is now just covering the very beginning of life, we shortened that time a little bit. But the other ages have been extended to make sure your Sims can see their little ones grow up and maybe even have children of their own.
Yeah, super cute. But as adorable as this newborn is, we really need an infant in this household in Oregon.
Yes, we do. Okay, so let's go ahead and go here to age them up early. I think she was going to show off the infant or the newborn.
Oh.
Okay, here we go.
And I love that Sims that are nearby will take pictures of it now. They recognize the importance of those moments.
So we could randomize a trait. There are actually traits for infants.
Yeah, 6 of them.
6 of them. And they range from sort of a sunny, happy, just generally easier infant to intense, where they have big emotions and they're going to be a lot more of a challenge to play with.
10 sounds like a handful for our stream today. Maybe we go back over to Sunny Morgan.
No. We're gonna go with cautious today. These Sims appreciate the familiar, but are slow to warm up to new experience, location, and Sims. Because I think we're gonna be able to show something cool specifically with that one during the live stream.
Yeah, let's do it.
We don't want to make it too easy.
Now, of course, you get to not only select these traits when your Sim ages up into an infant, but infants can actually be fully customized and created in Create a Sim as well. So why don't we actually head into that mode and we'll see everything that you can do in there.
Okay.
So this is pretty exciting because this is the youngest age Sim we've ever been able to create in Create a Sim. And of course, they're fully customizable with everything you'd expect, whether that's hairstyles, accessories, clothing, those personality traits that we just saw. And as Morgan clicks through some of our different clothing options right now, why don't I invite Steph onto the stream, our infant concept artist. Tell us a little bit more about the clothing coming for infants.
Hi, everybody. We wanted to give players really cute basics that they could mix and match. We have a bunch of new onesies, leggings and tops. We have new full bodies that are super cute. Like, I think we have like overalls. Yeah, the overalls are really cute, and like that overall dress. We also have some seasonal stuff. We have a winter suit, like it keeps your baby warm. We also have a really cute bear one. I think that's also my favorite. It's like that really fuzzy Sherpa material, super cute. And then also, like, if it's hot weather and you don't want to have much clothes on your baby, we also have cute baby diapers. And then
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
yeah, we have a bunch of those patterns. And
I love the
then
way they rotate to show it.
yeah, and for more storytelling options, we also have some baby accessories. We did some really cute baby glasses.
Maybe I'll do it on a
they're so
different
cute.
outfit that we can see it better.
Yeah. And then we also added baby helmets.
And this was something brand new to me. I'm not a parent myself, but I love love, not only did we get it in there, but just some really cute versions of it, like the aviator goggles, my absolute favorite.
Yeah, the aviator one is also my favorite. Did
Okay.
you want to show off some hair now?
Yeah, definitely. Let's look at some of the new hairs. I'll just
Yeah,
remove any of
so
the
for
filters.
the baby hairs, wanted to give players lots of options. So we have some that are like, some babies have lots of hair, and then some babies don't have as much hair, and we just wanted to give the players those kinds of options. Um, I think I think it's the second one from the bottom right to the left of, or right to the, yeah, that one. That one we're calling like the wispy one because that was like one of the harder ones for us to achieve because we're truly trying to get like a new painting style. So hopefully that comes off really well as a newborn hair for you guys.
Super cute.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
of
and
course,
then,
oh, go ahead,
oh,
Steph.
you can go ahead.
Well, was there more that you were going to want to share? Because I was going to move over to some of our cool skin detail options.
Oh yeah, I just wanted, that's what I was going to ask if you wanted to go ahead and talk about stork bites.
Yeah, for sure. So let's bring Simguru Nova on to talk a little bit about our new skin details and stork bites for infants and some for our other ages as well.
Sure. Hello. So yeah, you can apply stork bites, which are birthmarks specifically for infants in CAS. And as they age up, they will fade away, similar to how stork bites work for infants in real life. But you can make use of the new skin details we're offering in later ages as well. Coming to base game, we've added birthmarks across the ages in CAS, each with a set of swatches to kind of match different skin tones and ensure that they show up visibly and look natural. And we've also, as you've seen in the cast preview, maybe added a bunch of different additional skin details like stretch marks and a C-section scar to kind of help you create more realistic Sims as they move through different stages in their life and represent, the changes that a Sim's body might go through as they age and raise a family and things like that.
Yeah, I feel like the Sims feel a lot more real now with all of those details on them. So certainly been enjoying seeing that in game.
Yeah, and of course, variants across the board for each of those skin details so that work on that wide range of skin tones as well.
I think there's one more thing before we hop out of cast we were wanting to show off today, and
Yeah.
that is that under the view choice settings, we actually also added in a new option for can this sim produce milk. So that should be able to help create a wider variety of Sims.
Yeah, additional storytelling options, especially around, pregnancy and children.
Okay, so let's hop into some infants gameplay and see them
Yeah.
in game.
Super cute. Let's go.
Little, what was her name? Amelia?
Yeah, little Amelia pancakes.
Amelia. All right, well, let's start with a bath. Let's just show off some of these cute new things you're going to be doing with your infants. Maybe, let's give her a bubble bath. It's pretty cute.
Now, of course, this is just one of the many different options in there that you're going to have for taking care of your infant. And infants have all of the needs that you've come to expect from a sim. So we're taking care of their hygiene here, but different options for sleep, for hunger, for attention. And we'll see all of those as we go through and play a little today. But you'll see all the cute little interactions that Eliza does with her infant. She's testing the temperature of the water, putting some little bubbles on Amelia's head, playing with the rubber ducky. Just perfectly adorable stuff.
She seems like a pretty good mom. I think there's something that we did with that where, with attachment. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that, Lakshmi?
Yeah, sure. Both our newborns and infants are sort of trying to gauge if the world is a place where they are safe. If they're left crying or with low needs, they'll be feeling neglected. But when the Sims are caring for them and spending time with them, then they form this good sense of attachment. To help understand how this attachment is developing, there are moodlets that will let you know how cared for your infant is feeling. You might see one on her now. I'm not sure, since she just got a little love on the infant. Um, Yeah, so she got some care, and so she's feeling well cared for. Um, so when a couple of examples are when an infant's got a good level attachment, then they won't feel neglected when they're crying because they trust that someone will come and help them. But if that care hasn't arrived in the past, then their attachment would be low, and so they'll feel extra sad when their cries are going unanswered. Um, Also, as we just saw, when the sim is caring for or showing affection to an infant, there are moodlets that help you gauge sort of how secure the infant is feeling. Then if you build attachment as a newborn and an infant, we have 3 reward traits that can be earned when the sim ages up. There's happy infant for a sim that formed a good bond and therefore trusts that sims have good intentions. And then top notch if they were very well cared for, which also means they like trust their caregivers specifically. And then if you intentionally push to the other end, there's also an unhappy infant, which will make them basically more skeptical of Sims. They have a hard time trusting the intentions of those Sims.
I love that it tells that story of like care and attachment from early in life and then carries through the rest of the Sims life and helps form that strong foundation for them.
Mhm.
Now, Morgan, I saw you clicking on the high chair a second ago, and I bet a lot of people in our chat were just groaning. Oh no, not the high chair, anything but the high chair. Uh, we all know about the high chair. Our longtime veterans, a lot of them will know it's one of those tricky objects. It was always a little difficult to play with your toddlers, but fear not, we've made a number of quality of life improvements to the high chair. So some of those issues you experienced in the past where a toddler would just constantly want to get in and out of the high chair and have trouble feeding them in it, that should be much better now. And it's not just for our toddlers. Of course, all those improvements are there for infants as well, so that you get to really enjoy that object and some of the new gameplay that we've added around it. And what are you trying right now, Morgan?
We're trying mashed peas right now. So infants always they try their new food. Can't because they're currently trying it, but there's a selection of different baby foods you can try with your infants. And they'll either be unsure, they'll like it, they'll love it, or they'll dislike it, and they react accordingly. And it's really cute to watch them and see as they figure out what they like and they don't. You might notice that she was unsure about mashed peas. That's one of those ways that Amelia's trait here, that she's cautious, is going to come into play because she's going to be less certain if she likes food more often than other infants are. So just there's a lot of little things like that within those traits packed into how they behave differently. That's cute.
And I'll give another tip to the non-parents out there, I guess. Another thing I learned while working on this update is that exploring foods in the high chair, that's really about like establishing those moments of care and attention with parents. It's about trying new things and exploring the world around them and less about satisfying hunger. So just before that, you were bottle feeding Amelia here, and we added a nice new option around that as well, because either bottle feeding or breastfeeding, that's the best way to go about satisfying an infant's hunger. Now, previously you had to select that each time, whichever option it was you preferred. But now you can designate the preference for your infant, and Sims will automatically do that when they're playing autonomously or, when you use or direct them to help feed an infant. Now here, little Amelia, she's found her way over to the toys in the living room. And of course, she's playing with some of the building blocks, but I see some of her new sensory toys behind her as well.
Yeah. Go play with one of those while we wait for her brother to come down here.
And what's Iggy coming over to try doing?
He was going to try to entertain her.
Maybe we could play a little peekaboo with Amelia. I think that's my favorite new interaction. They're super cute when they do it. Squeak, squeak, squeak.
I think he got bored because she was playing other games. She was ignoring him. Oh, she will like that. Well, she is really tired. It is time for her to have a nap.
Okay, well maybe we give her a rest.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and take her on upstairs to her crib. And put her to bed here.
Now this crib looks a little bit different than the ones that we saw earlier when we were looking at all the cribs. You've added in to this one, haven't you, Morgan?
Yep. has been upgraded to have a little oh no, I always want to call them carousels. They're not carousels.
Yeah, mobiles.
Mobiles. Little mobile that and there's two options. There's I think a space one and then this bird one, which is my favorite. So oh, she might be wanting to. Oh, she's crying. We waited a little too long to put her to bed and now she's grumpy.
Yeah.
So we're going to go on upstairs. And the reason why we're using the one with the carousel, we have the one downstairs that's portable, but you have to soothe them to sleep sometimes to help them go to sleep, especially if they're like a wiggly infant or something.
Yep.
So you soothe them, you can kiss them to get them to go to sleep a little better. But if you have this, you can actually just play a lullaby, and that's going to help them go to sleep a little bit easier.
So soothing.
Yep. And she fell right asleep.
I might need a little nap myself, Morgan. It might be time for me to get ready to bounce out of the stream.
Yeah. I think we have a little with the
Yeah, so before I go, I think, of course, we're looking at just our base game update today, and we're only playing with base game. But we've got a whole wealth of packs out there that I'm sure many of you have. And so we added a lot of content for infants across some of those packs as well. So when I think about expansion packs, like, of course, with cats and dogs, your infants are going to be able to pet the dog. That's always the most important question to the internet, right? Or if you have a game pack, like, say, Parenthood, that's something that should really naturally integrate with an experience with infants, and it absolutely will. So as you're developing your parenting skill, you're going to find new ways to provide better care for your infants. And even with some of our stuff packs, like Nifty Knitting, for example, there's a bunch of onesies that you can knit for your infants. So definitely, try it out with some of the different packs out there and see what you can discover. I think they're really nice part of the overall Sims 4 experience. Cool.
Well, thanks for joining today.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really happy to give this detailed look at infants. Now, of course, this is coming to all players, all platforms on March 14th. So excited for you to get your hands on it. And we're going to take a really short break. Don't go anywhere, because as fun as this was, you're about to see all of the great content coming with The Sims 4 Growing Together, our newest expansion pack. I myself am going to say goodbye for today. Morgan is going to stay here with you, but I'm going to tag in Grimsu Rudoy, our lead designer on Growing Together, to show off all the great content that's coming. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a minute.
Enjoy the trailer.
Your whims up yonder, but you don't know. One was plunger, your whims up yonder, but you don't know. One was plunger, proof with granted. Your blood's a lot of words. Your thirsty words simply the same. She's fancy words in words. So try every time to birds move, but birds freeze even know. For love has fly, but the free to kite. You never let give show. Your whims up yonder, but you don't know. When I was plunger, your whims up yonder, but you don't know. When I was plunger.
Auf der Wiese, raus.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome back.
I'm very excited to be here. Um, I don't know if I just want to be clear. This is not normally what I dress like to come into work. I do not develop The Sims 4 in this all the time, but
I do.
it's a special. Yes, Morgan does. But it's a special occasion, so we thought we get dressed up a little bit.
He's a sloth.
I'm a sloth.
If you were unsure.
And we're here to talk about The Sims 4 growing together.
As was announced earlier, this is Grimsuru Doi.
Oh yes, hello. Sim Guru Morgan still with us. And if you hear Morgan saying Scott, that's also me. My name is Scott.
Oh, yeah.
Online, if you follow me on Twitter, I go by Grimsuru Doi for reasons that we're not going to get into here. But yeah, I was the lead designer on Sims 4 Growing Together, our expansion pack that's coming out on March 16th, and I'm very, very excited to be able to show you a lot of the stuff that's going to be in it today.
I'm going to poke through some outfits. Why don't you tell us a little bit about like a brief overview of your pack?
I would love to do that. Yes. So with The Sims 4 Growing Together, what we wanted to do was we wanted to give you, the player, the opportunity to really celebrate the kind of full lifetimes and memorable milestones of every Sim family, all the different kinds of families we know you're making, you're playing with, and explore the unique ways in which they may interact with each other. And I'm gonna step back a little bit. I'm gonna talk a little bit about kind of our design pillars, our design goals for this pack. We're gonna see examples of them in the stream today, but I'm gonna talk about kind of what we were trying to hit with Growing Together. And the first one, we started off with a core of kind of making sure that family matters, right? That when you are interacting with family members, that it feels different than when you are interacting with a random Sim walking down the sidewalk. So whether that is your close family, whether that is extended family, whether you have family kind of across multiple households, right, living in different lots, all those different makeups and family, that it feels special and meaningful to be interacting between family members. And then kind of going out beyond that, the next thing we looked at was really deepening and making more meaningful all of our relationships across the game. Obviously, our family relationships had to feel different, had to feel special. But when we were looking at that, and we're going to talk about some of these features that I'm really excited about for Growing Together that do this, we wanted to make all of our relationships deeper and make them more meaningful so that when you have two Sims talking to each other, conversing, having these social interactions, that they really do feel like they are two individual Sims with unique kind of social preferences and compatibility, and making it so that it doesn't feel like any two Sims conversing at any time are like any other two Sims, that those conversations, those relationships are different and unique. And then once we did that, the thing that I really enjoy is kind of like the icing on the cake for Growing Together is we really wanted to provide a sense of the drama of life that we were excited about when we looked at the lifetimes of our Sims and how to make them interesting throughout. And here we kind of did it in two ways. We made features where players are able to really start off their Sims in a dramatic fashion, give them kind of like interesting ways to relate to each other, but also be able to trigger potentially moments in their story that are more dramatic. But we also had the game be a little more reactive. We have some features in Growing Together that I think are really fun, that really I think of as sort of like story prompts for your Sims, that give them an opportunity to maybe take a little detour on the story that you had in mind for them, and gives you as the player still control to kind of say yes or no to that story prompt, but might take you in a direction that kind of throws a little bit of extra drama in their life, that I think is really fun and makes it so that their lifetimes feel full and meaningful. So yeah, I mean, thank you for indulging me. That was a little bit kind of like designy. We didn't get to see any of that yet, but we're gonna see examples of all of that, I think. And that was really what we wanted to do with Growing Together. And I would like to think that we succeeded. But we can look at some of their outfits now first, and then I'll be really excited once we get into live mode to kind of tie back to a lot of those things that I was just talking about.
There's a lot to cover today, like a lot, as you could tell.
Yes. I'm covering as much of my body as I can with this. It's gonna get really hot. I'm gonna say it right now. I'm already sweating a little bit and regretting my choices, but we got a couple hours to go. It's fine. It's fine. I'll be
not
fine.
regretting anything. Well, would you like to talk to us? We've been looking at some outfit things here. Would you like to tell us about the pack clothing here and maybe point out some of your favorite pieces we can look at?
Yeah. Hello, everybody. As you can see here, we are trying to include clothing and accessories for all ages. Elders, adults, children, toddler, and of course more cats for infants. So for the clothing style we have for this pack, you will find urban, casual, everyday wears, and refined vintage style. The modern design with vintage aesthetic for early spring and summer clothing. And I think there's one of my favorite. If you go to the female top, there's a mohair cardigan with a corset underneath. Yeah, this one is one of my favorite. We include the plaid and strap pattern options with some vintage color and pastel color. It's very spring vibe. That which you can match with some other sets with other family members' clothing. Like if you go, yeah, this toddler, if you choose full body. Oh yeah, this one you can match it together. Yeah, we include some pattern options that that families members clothing they can coordinate each other.
And then here's the full body one you were talking about.
Yeah.
That's really cute. I love the idea of just kind of having matching family outfit.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite outfits?
Do I have any favorite outfits? I don't know if you can tell. I'm a fan of costumes. So I like the full body costumes. There's one is it for the infants that I'm thinking of? That is it's like the duck.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's one of my favorites. I love the duck. I love being able to dress up your infants like little animals. I did that as a parent. I'm sure all parents do. I think you legally have to take a picture of your infant when it is at the age where you could put them in a bunch of these outfits and then share them with family. The other one that I also really enjoy is I think you have it on our elder right now, which is that headscarf.
Oh yeah, this one's great.
Which is super cute and like really versatile, and it's something that I feel like I'm gonna put on a lot of my Sims from here on out. Forever.
Yeah, and we used our new tech with this too. So if your hair color is different, it also updates with your hair color.
Nice.
So that's cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. I think Molly, didn't you have some favorite pieces too?
Yes, I did. So the child accessories that are like bead necklaces and the bead bracelet, all the swatches are so cute, and like the different beads that it puts on them for that one, like I love it, and I love the bracelet. Like they just remind me of being a kid and making little chunky bead bracelets for everybody in my house and like making them wear them.
Yeah, those are amazing. Steph, did you have any favorites? And I think you were going to talk to us today about some of the hairs.
Yeah, for hair for the Sims 4 Growing Together, we collaborated with Lacey Redway, a professional hairstylist, bringing her expertise to the Sims 4. We added a bunch of new braid styles that we hope are going to be improving our catalog, and we really hope that the players are going to enjoy. One of my favorites is the one with the top bun, the braid bun, the one with the really big bun on the.
This one?
Yeah, that one.
Gorgeous.
We really tried to improve our baby hair styling so it looks more natural and it blends more with the hair. We also and then another favorite one was the I think it's the short curly one. We have one that's a solid color, but my favorite is the one that's colored. So we kept the natural root color, and then the color options are like just the curly tips. So that one was really fun to do. Yeah.
Very
And then we
cool.
also have some more infant hairs that we're adding.
I think this
So
is
we
fun.
have some options for like different like textures. You have the curly, wavy, but then my favorite one is I call it the the pineapple hair bun. Yeah. You always have to do that to it when their hair is just long enough and you're like, oh, I could put it in a ponytail now.
There's also hair for other age groups as well. But something I really like about this pack is how many different options there are across the different age groups. But I think I had her and her mom have matching hair because I thought that was really cute. Okay.
Yeah, I really like that kind of like from a create a sim perspective and kind of making sure that, you know, from the design side, we're looking at the entire lifetime of the sim, right? Really looking at all the age stages here, and create a sim kind of reinforcing that with getting those styles and those accessories and those hairs like across all those life stages as well.
So I forgot actually to introduce this family. This is the Lumberjackson family.
Sure.
Technically on the gallery, if you downloaded him, his name is Kurt Lumberjackson, but that was before he was a secret agent, and I renamed him to Ron Lumberjackson. So I'm aware you can't get me on that, but like his name is now Ron Lumberjackson.
Right,
just so
for safety reasons.
Yes, for safety reasons. And
I remember Ron actually. I think from the werewolves stream.
Ron's my favorite.
Yes. You probably just didn't introduce them because you're so familiar with Ron.
Yeah, and I think I've updated him to have, which we forgot to mention, some of our new skin details that come with
these
this
freckles.
pack.
These are really
so there's like freckles, and also some moles, which are amazing.
Yes.
He's got kind of a beard in the way there, but yeah, and there's also body freckles. You can kind of see it here. I think on his mom, she has some body freckles down here. A little risque. Yeah.
Just let Mama wear what Mama wants. Come on.
She's like, oh, my makeup's not done. Okay, so yeah, the Lumberjacksons. This is his wife Mira, and these are their kids. They also have a newborn, so we can show off some new pack specific stuff for newborns. And then this is Mama Lumberjackson, Ron's mama. So she's also here with this family. And speaking of this, Molly, would you like to tell us a little bit about the family dynamics feature that we're adding with this pack?
Why, yes, I would like to tell you about it. So basically, you can set a family dynamic now between any two members of a family. It creates unique tones to each relationship, sort of. Oh, sorry. It creates unique tones to each relationship, so you can kind of influence the autonomous behavior between two sims, and give them unique buffs and interactions when interacting together. They can be gained either in cast.
Yeah,
or
I know you paused. Hold on, Nova. I know you paused earlier because you were hearing an echo. I'm not sure. We can't tell if it's going out across the stream. I hear an echo. I'm gonna blame Frost, so I'm just gonna give a moment to see if we need to like mute someone, and then we can continue. I think I see a mute icon where there wasn't one before. Okay, cool. Go for it.
Thank goodness, it's real hard to.
It threw me off a little bit while I was talking, so I was like, oh my god, I'm like hearing myself speak. Okay, anyways. Yeah, so you set it between any two members of the family. It creates sort of like a unique tone to the relationship. It mainly influences how those sims autonomously interact with each other, but they also get unique buffs and interactions when they're together depending on their dynamic. It can be gained in casts, as you can see here, or via natural gameplay adventure moments, or via the new keepsake box objects, which we'll see later. Once it's set in cast, they're mostly permanent, as you can also see here, but the new dynamics can still be discovered via adventure moments during gameplay, so they can change over time depending on those two sims' experience with each other. They can also be removed via a dynamic remover potion, which can be purchased from the reward store in-game. But some examples of how they impact autonomous behavior is, so you'll see between Mira and Ron, they have the jokesters dynamic. They'll autonomously run funny interactions with each other or just kind of make each other laugh when they're nearby. They'll also get special playful buffs with each other too. And distant Sims, if they were to have that dynamic, would mostly autonomously avoid each other while in the same house, unless you go out of your way to make them interact. When they do, they'll get a pretty strong tense buff and feel kind of awkward being around their distant family member. One cool thing to note too is when the dynamic will also be present when a family member lives in another household. So let's say you have a mother and a daughter with a close dynamic. Once the daughter moves out, the mother might call more often, but if they had the distant dynamic, they'd really hardly ever reach out to one another.
I like that. That's a lot of storytelling in
Yeah,
this feature.
And being able to see
Yes.
that kind of like once that like naturally, right, as kind of you grow up, you might be changing your households might be kind of splitting, or you might be taking a younger sim and moving them out, and that kind of staying meaningful as a dynamic is really cool. I just wanted to clarify, the reason we don't see in right now you being able to set these is for the sake of this stream and setting up kind of like our household. They were set up earlier in Create a Sim. If we are coming in Create a Sim fresh, you would see the drop downs for family dynamic being accessible here. So just kind of once you have growing together, the first time you go into CAS, you'll actually see that you can set these, as Nova was saying.
And we can see a little bit more about these in game later, but we're still not done in CAS.
No.
There's so
Yeah,
much
there's
more
so
in
much.
CAS.
I was going to mention one other thing. I don't know if Nova mentioned it. One of the things that I like about dynamics is also if you have them set and you are playing as those Sims, you'll also see the kind of suggestions made in the social kind of options in the pie menu kind of change to reflect what the dynamic might be. And that's also, I feel like, a really in a subtle way that we're kind of tipping the scales and being like, this is the way these two Sims sort of like to interact with each other.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay, so we know about the preferences, the likes and dislikes category
We've had them
here.
before.
And music genres, one we've had before. You might have heard some soul music playing while you were waiting, and we've added soul music.
Great new tracks.
So that's awesome. But we also have two new categories here with this pack: Sims characteristics and conversation topics. Do you want to take us through these as well, Nova?
Yes, you're not so easily rid of me. I'm still here. So yeah, these are the two main pillars of social compatibility, which is a feature coming with Growing Together. Sim characteristics, as you can see here, each category represents a grouping of Sims based on a certain archetype. The way it works is when your Sim likes one of these categories, they'll gain compatibility score with other Sims that fall into that category. When they dislike it, they'll lose compatibility score. And when those two Sims meet, their compatibility will be calculated based on both Sims' preference, likes, and dislikes, which we'll see a little bit later in game. The compatibility is platonic in nature, so it can be between family members, and it's also available for child Sims and up. Those select few categories are only available for teens and olders, like related to romance, things like that. You might be asking how are Sims determined to be in each of these categories, like what makes a cerebral Sim or an egotistical Sim. There's three main things. One is traits, including those you set in CAS, and some aspiration reward traits. Likes and dislikes from the activities category, like piano or knitting, things like that. And the third is lifestyles from Snowy Escape. And when your Sim likes or dislikes that category, every Sim they meet is checked for those three main elements to see if they fall into that category. And you might have been able to tell from how I was explaining it, but there's tons of cross-pack compatibility here. You'll see the tooltips for each section describes the base game traits that tie into them, but almost every category has traits from across a ton of different packs that tie into them. Pretty much every trait we've released so far is represented in at least one of these categories. So an example we can show is homebody Sims, which are Sims that kind of like to stay home and pursue more like calm and laid back endeavors. The base game ones that it mentions, like bookworm, clumsy, etc., are there, but it also includes socially awkward from high school years and laid back, which is an aspiration trait from Island Living. It includes some cross-pack activity preferences like baking from Get to Work or knitting from Nifty Knitting, and also includes the sedentary lifestyle from Snowy Escape. So if you're looking to add some challenge to your game when it comes to sim relationships, I'd highly recommend not just liking or disliking a few, but not being afraid to dislike a decent selection. Boldly declare your Sim's preferences and ensure that your Sim has varied compatibility scores with a diverse number of sims. Like Kara here will definitely find a decent number of sims that she does not get along with. So it'll create a little more challenge. And I will add that this is much easier to do because we've upped the like and dislike count to 50, and that's coming to base game as well. So you'll be able to choose up to 50 likes and dislikes across all categories.
Yeah, nice.
I like this too because in general, before, if you ever like argued with the sim, they would be like, "Oh, I don't like that," but maybe they do now. Maybe
Yeah, I think
that's
this is
something they like.
this is one of those things that when we were kind of looking at deepening our relationships, right, with growing together, really got to when you think about the way you interact with even your friends, and the way that you might like see somebody and be like, right, I feel like I'm gonna have a good connection with this person or a bad connection with this person, and taking it outside of the sort of the romantic realm, as Nova said, these are at their base platonic. There is this this kind of nice personality that we already have for all of our sims, and being able to use that as a tool to kind of help determine these sim characteristics and likes and dislikes. I think we did. The team did an incredible job in terms of trying to figure out what these characteristics could be, and doing that, as you heard from Nova, like deep mapping onto all of the ways that you already can set personality on your sims.
And
yeah, and I was gonna say we'll get a chance to see how that looks in game a little later too.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. So let's look really quick here at conversation topics as well.
Yeah, so this is the second big pillar of social compatibility. Conversation topics are tied to the pie menu reorganization, which we'll see later. But essentially, each of these likes and dislikes represent whether or not your sim would prefer other sims to use those types of interactions on them as the recipient. For example, Kara dislikes affection. That means that if a sim tried to go and perform an affection interaction on her, 99% of the time she's going to decline it because she doesn't like affection. She does like complaints, however, though. So if a sim went up to her with a friendly complaint, like complaining about the rain, if you have seasons, then she would love that because she is all about the complaining. She's all down for a good kvetching session if you're having issues in your life. And so kind of what this does is it creates a much more complex social landscape throughout the game. So if you have sims that have a really diverse set of likes and dislikes across these categories, you really have to learn what each sim likes and dislikes when it comes to socializing. And because they won't accept interactions that are in categories they dislike, it's going to be really hard to get away with going up to Ron and presenting arguments. For example, he will especially dislike argument interactions. But if you go up to him and try to gossip, he's always wants the tea, so he will love that, and it'll be a lot easier to gain relationship with him. And similar to sim characteristics, I would definitely recommend choosing a diverse variety of these, and it'll really present a nice challenge when it comes to making new friends.
Definitely. So we'll look more at that in game as well. But wait, we're not done in CAS.
Are we not? My. What more could we look at in here? What more could there be, Morgan?
Well, with the aspirations, we actually added from, like, for the first time since base game, 4 new aspirations for children. These were the 4 that came with base game.
Yes.
And then
now under multi-skill, we have 4 entirely new child aspirations. Incredible. This is the thing that I really like here is that if you've played kids a lot in The Sims 4, you've probably played with the 4 aspirations that we've had since base game. And being able to double the number of aspirations that you can choose, I think really gives that variety for how children can feel in terms of what their goals might be for that age stage. And the other thing that I think is really cool about these is our base game aspirations were really about focusing on a particular child skill. And these new ones have a kind of mix of interactions and things to do with new features and objects in growing together, but also are trying to really, as you can see, they're named multi-skill, right? To have the child be a little bit more diverse in terms of their skill building, which I think opens up those storytelling possibilities for what kind of kid you're kind of making and what they're doing.
Definitely. Okay, well, let's hop in game. This was a lot in cast.
Yeah.
So
I think it was worth it.
Yeah.
There's just a lot to show there. And I think the other thing that we hopefully have set the stage well for is being able to then see how some of these choices that you might make in Create a Sim are going to translate in game. One of the things, I'm going to go a little bit high level design again. One of the things that I think we really wanted to do with this pack was to empower players that really want to set up a story, right? And in Create a Sim, being able to really like dig deep into those family dynamics, into those personalities, into those characteristics, into the kind of conversation topics, and really set up your household how you want them to behave to each other and to the world. But we also wanted, if you were the kind of player that were going into casts and maybe didn't have that full story in your head, or maybe you're just like, I don't want to spend a ton of time setting that up because like I'm not sure who these Sims are yet, right? That what we'll see reflected is we have ways in gameplay to have those emerge and have your Sims evolve. And I think that's something that's also really cool about this pack. I know you've been on this, you want to show off the world. I know people are excited about this world. Let's talk about that before we dive into into live mode properly.
I like what you had to say, Scott.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So this is San Sequoia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of loosely inspired by San Francisco, which is where we're at. Yeah. So my bear head fell off. There,
important, and yeah, we gotta keep it.
We have 3 neighborhoods here at the Anchor Point Wharf, which we'll be visiting later, and learning more about it. Gilbert Gardens and Hopewell Hills, and yeah, we'll be looking at all 3 of these neighborhoods. I'd like to do a quick shout out to G-Jack, Delagracy, and Little Simsy, who built lots for us here.
That's right. They built our lots that you can see some of them here. We'll be visiting a few of them as well.
Here's we're not loading them. We're loading into Lumberjackson family today. So here we go.
Yeah. And I really like one thing. I will see each of the kind of neighborhoods in a little more depth, but you can see from the kind of world map as well. I like the obviously where we have a personal attachment to kind of the inspiration of the San Francisco suburbs and neighborhoods. But one of the things that I really like about the Bay Area, about San Francisco, is that the kind of suburbs and neighborhoods of San Francisco each have their own little feel, and I think that's something that we reflected well in San Sequoia, which is that if you visit each of these kind of neighborhoods within this world, they have a slightly different feel, even though they're all part of the same area, right? I think that's clear from the wonderful work our environment team has done. But I really like that there's a slightly different vibe in each of the neighborhoods.
Definitely, I agree with that. Rach, would you like to give us some background on Hope Hill? Yeah, that's the right one.
Hopewell Hills, right? Yeah, Hopewell Hills.
This is Hopewell Hills. Yes. Hi, hello. So, yeah, as you had mentioned, when we were kind of thinking about San Sequoia, we wanted to be inspired by the Bay Area. And what I love about the Bay Area is that we've got these different types of neighborhoods. And Hopewell Hills is basically sleepy suburbs, if that's the kind of dynamic you're looking for. So as you can see, it's really just lots of nicely spaced out houses here. And you're probably thinking, okay, San Sequoia, I see a lot of trees here. I'm not seeing any sequoias. What's that about? Well, there's some lore there that you can get into. I'll mention that a little bit later too, but I wanted to just call attention over here to Old Stumpy, the remnants of our sequoias. And I feel like I think maybe Simguru has something he may need to account for here when we talk about the sequoias.
Okay. I knew this was coming. Let's clear the air. Let's do this. You know what? Let's do this publicly, okay? Because I've had enough of the design team. So, okay, maybe you remember. I don't know if you do. I was also lead designer on the Sims 4 Werewolves game pack. The Werewolves game pack came with a beautiful world, named Moonwood Mill. And when we decided on the name of that world, Moonwood Mill, there were members of the design team that were like, Scott, there is no mill here. Why would we name this world Moonwood Mill? And I was like, I like the alliteration. I think it's, and there could have been a mill here. Why don't we construct a world that, like, we were talking about it being like an old logging town? There probably was a mill here. Why are you so obsessed with there being a mill right now in Moonwood Mill? Wait, I even wrote a loading string that said there used to be a mill in Moonwood Mill to make sure that everyone was clear on that. And then, lo and behold, with Growing Together, we were thinking of wonderful names for our wonderful world, and San Sequoia came up. And I feel like maybe some of the same designers on the design team were like, Scott, are we really going to ship another pack with you as lead designer where we have named a world where you are clearly calling out something, an object that is not going to exist in this world? And, you know, these worlds were designed by members of the design team. I was not the only one who helped decide what was going to go in these worlds. Rach did a wonderful job helping to design this world with the environment team. But also, like, you know, there used to be sequoias in San Sequoia, and why not give these worlds a sense of history instead of insisting that they always need to have literally what is in the world name right now in the world?
Tell the design team's giving him a
It is. You know what? It is, you know, the next pack that I'm on the lead designer for, the world name is there's going to be a ton of whatever. We're going to name it something that's going to be like Chair Village, and we'll just have a bunch of chairs and everyone will be happy. But I love San Sequoia. I think
without.
Yeah, it's true. Like in Latin, is that right? Is like sans. Anyway.
Thank you so much.
Don't think
Mr.
about
Doy.
it too much.
We're gonna go back to Rach. We're gonna go back to Rach.
Such a spirited defense of
there's-
deforestation. I
there's
I
two-
really appreciate it.
I have a mind to leave the stream right now.
I'm going to talk about the rest of the neighborhood, though. I promise.
Yeah,
So
yeah, go for it. Yeah, give me a
you can
moment.
see
Give me a
there's
moment.
this lovely little pond where you can do a little bit of fishing if you like. And this is one of my
Mhm.
favorite things about this neighborhood, that little parklet area where you can see the pirate ship built out. That's just, it's so creative. I love it so much. And you can see there's a little statue there of Bayani Robles. He is, again, a little piece of lore you're going to learn about more there, but he's one of the original founding guys of this area. If you're into frogs, there may be some frogs here. That's what that icon is all about.
Who
And then I
isn't
just wanted
into
to
frogs?
zoom out and show the beautiful marina area, because I know there's something special for Morgan here too that we should get into.
I like that they made it so that you can walk out here. So you can actually walk out onto it. And like I took some family pictures out here, which I thought was pretty cool.
Nice.
And
Get a nice view of the bridge.
Yeah.
Boats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
really
was
great.
excited.
The last thing I wanted to call attention to in this area is that the Michelson family lives here, along with the Luna Sullivan family. But the Michelson family, of course, you will recognize them from our trailer. And I wanted to just mention, I saw a lot of players talking about names for this, and there was some definite thought going into those names, and you can learn more about it if you dig into that. But yeah, Michelsons are here, Luna Sullivan's here, and there is another little starter home that I know you're going to get into in a minute. But that is Hopewell Hills for you.
Yep. There's also this empty lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, this was actually a starter home built by Lil Simsy.
Nice.
But we have upgraded it to be super fancy.
You've improved it, Morgan.
I've improved
You've
it.
improved it.
Oh
Or
my.
I mean, if little Simsy is here, Morgan has ruined it. I can't believe she would do this to your lot. To help show off some of the stuff, some of the cool stuff in Growing Together.
Yeah, because it looks really it's great before. So the thing I love about this starter that she built is that it has 4 bedrooms already. Starting off. You start off with all 4 bedrooms that they have here. So you need, I think, 2 or 3 Sims you can move in as a starter home, but it lets you start off with an infant and just move in. It's
Very cool, yeah. And
it's
also very
great.
impressive if you've ever tried to build a starter with the kind of limitations of budget and stuff like that. But being able to bring that family right in, a very, very welcoming home.
But we've definitely decorated it here to sort of be a little bit more lived in and show off all of our cool build buy assets that we have. So you can check some of them out here in this house. Yeah, before we really hop into gameplay, while it's still fresh in our minds, we'd been talking about compatibility
Yeah.
while we were in build buy. So I'm thinking maybe we could show that off in game a little bit really
Yeah,
quick
if you pop
here.
open the rel panel, I think that's the easiest way to kind of get a first look at that.
And I think you could sort by a lot of things here, including family. So we can look at our family here now.
And so you can see that there's a new icon that wasn't there before. If this is, you have Ron selected, right? For Meyer, Mama, and Kara, there's that little icon in the top corner that represents compatibility. Were we going to have Nova kind of walk us through what some of this might mean, or other places where you might be able to see it?
Yeah, so you can see each icon in the rel panel, or each person in the rel sim in the rel panel has an icon. In the top right, no icon indicates neutral compatibility, but puzzles fitting together mean that they either have good or amazing compatibility, whereas the puzzles floating apart and not clicking means they either have bad or awful compatibility. You can check the details by hovering or checking the sim profile. And like I mentioned before, each of these compatibilities is calculated based on the sim characteristic preferences both sims have chosen, but also checking the other sims' traits, likes and dislikes, and lifestyles versus those preferences. And when sims have great good or amazing compatibility, they will be able to become friends much easier. They'll gain much more relationship when interacting with each other, and it'll just feel a little bit more natural for them to click. When they have bad or awful compatibility, you'll find it much more of a challenge to have them become friends. They'll gain relationship a lot slower. Maybe they'll be less willing to accept kind of the friendly sort of interactions that the other sim presents to them. It'll just be all around a little bit more of a challenge. And also the if you wanted to show the pie menu really quick, Morgan, too. We can see the new pie menu reorganization that was part of the other aspect of compatibility for conversation topic preferences. You can see here each of the new categories maps to one of the likes and dislikes for conversation topics that we had for each sim. And the important interactions like divorce or breakup or things like that are left uncategorized, so it's a little easier for you to find. Like you can see become best friends is left uncategorized. We don't want a sim to decline that because it's in a category they dislike, and we also want to make sure it's easy for you guys to find. Nearly all past interactions added have been subcategorized, so you should find it a little bit easier now to navigate, especially the friendly menu, which I know could get a little cluttered before with all the new interactions we've added. So
yeah, I love this. Now that it's been in game, it's really, really nice to have.
Yeah, we had a lot of social interactions, didn't we, Morgan? And so I think there's a little bit of a learning curve, because previously you would just kind of maybe memorize where it was alphabetically and then be like, next, it's this one. But being able to find them under these subcategories, I think once you get past that learning curve, is so helpful. And I really love how they match up with the conversation topic preferences. So you get a hint also of if they like or dislike a conversation topic, the social options underneath that might be easier or harder for you to do with that sim.
I'm showing off some of our new interactions that we have across different ages. And also, I think we updated how ages work. Do you want to talk a little bit about that as well, Nova?
Sure. As part of this pack, we've tried to kind of change the experience of having sims of different age groups interacting with each other. We've tackled this in a couple different ways. One of the main ways is through new cross-age interactions. So we've added a host of new interactions available for sims of one age to interact with sims of another age. You can see Mama Lumberjackson is there. A ton of them are new elder interactions. They can reminisce on the old days. We also have Aren't You the Sweetest Little Thing? And they can also, a fun cross-pack bit here, give life lessons under Deep Thoughts. If you have Parenthood installed, performing this interaction will raise corresponding character values based on the life lesson given. So like responsibility, manners, etc. A little bit of Parenthood tie-in there. We have quite a few new child interactions to perform on toddlers. So they can claim the other sim, or on toddlers, children, or teens, actually. So they can claim the other sim as an alien. Oh, and we see a pop-up too for family dynamics. This is how it looks when your sims have been interacting in a certain way, and the family dynamic could potentially change. So it's funny that that popped up.
Yeah. We'll
Um,
see if we see more of these pop-ups. One of the things that, like, again, this is really cool. What we wanted to do was we wanted to, as I talked about in CreateASim, make it so that you could set up everything you wanted to, right, in CreateASim, but also at the same time that the game would respond to how you're playing it. That if you don't have dynamics set, or even if you do, that they could, there's a chance of them changing depending on how you are playing with these sims to kind of evolve your sims into the relationship that the game kind of sees in terms of your playstyle and your play patterns.
yeah, and it feels really natural too as you have those sims interact with each other. But yeah, and toddlers have a bunch of new interactions, like the kick you saw in the trailer. And for most ages, we've added a new family kiss, which you also saw in the trailer too. It's a new, super sweet way to show affection within your family. But kind of the second
Very
part,
mean.
the second part, sort of beneath the surface of everything, we've brought a big change to the base game that will essentially make the interactions of the experience of interacting with two sims of different ages completely different based on the age combos. We've changed the relationship gain and loss multipliers for every combination of sims interacting. So some sims will find it harder to gain in a relationship when interacting with other sims of other ages due to differences, and some ages will find it easier to gain relationship with other ages. So, and this also goes for losing relationship too. So one example of this for children, they gain relationships with, and we'll have a Kyle pop up. We'll talk about that in a second, but children will gain relationships much faster with other children because they just get each other, but they'll struggle to gain relationship quite as fast when interacting with a teen because the teen will take them a little less seriously. So none of those changes are super drastic, but they're definitely noticeable enough to add additional challenge when building cross-age relationships in your game. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, one of the things that I always like when I think about real life, right, is like kids become friends so quickly. I'm kind of jealous of them because as an adult, I think it actually is harder to build that friendship. But like that combined with the fact that you can have these cross-age differences of like, kids being able to build up that friendship quickly, but with other ages maybe being less so, and that being something that kind of underlies all of our more complex social changes with growing together. That was in base game, right? Like that age, kind of those age multipliers are going out to everyone. And laying on top of all the cool stuff that we've done with growing together, like I think really makes me excited about the fact that the social landscape is so much deeper with growing together, and it's really, really cool to be able to really add that to the game. So what's this? There's so much going on in this pack, right? That we have to like we have to wait to catch up. We have to like finish explaining the thing we were talking about. What's going on here, Morgan?
So we got a phone call from our boy Kyle.
Do we know Kyle?
I don't think we know Kyle.
Okay.
So Kyle is like, wait, you don't remember me? Dude, you're so funny. Seriously, never change. Maybe you should read it. You always read these really good.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't quite know who Kyle is, but it sounds like he might be the kind of person who's like, hey bro, it's me, your boy Kyle. Listen, I'm coming over to your place to chill for a few days, just like old times. Doesn't that sound sick? He's like, wait, what? You don't remember me? Dude, you're so funny. Seriously, never change. Hope you have some juice ready. It's gonna be lit. I think we should have Kyle over.
Sure, why not?
He sounds like a fun time.
Sure, why not?
Why not?
Oh,
we got a milestone too?
We got a milestone. What do we do?
Let's talk about Kyle first. No, you want to talk about milestones? All right.
We talk about those later.
Okay, no. We're saving milestones. Okay. Okay.
Who dis? This is Kyle.
This is Kyle. What a dreamboat.
Look at that. Look at his suitcase. That's the real dreamboat.
That's
here.
yes. Okay, sorry. I was looking at Kyle. You were looking at the suitcase. He's bringing a really cool suitcase in here.
Yeah, into our house, into our home.
He's putting it there.
Okay. Well, we're gonna rummage through it.
Oh, well, okay. I don't know about that.
Show you what are you? What do you bring?
I actually know what Kyle's doing here. Kyle is part of our new temporary stays system. That we are. You're just gonna open it like rude. These suitcases are really cool. Sorry, what do you want to talk about first? Do you want to talk about the suitcases? The suitcases are really cool. Our temporary stays will bring them over. They're also available in the catalog as well. You can just kind of put them down, and they work kind of like a dresser, right? So you can do anything you want to that you could do from a dresser out of these suitcases, but they're a little more mobile. They're a little more fun. You can take them places. And Kyle brought his because he's staying for a bit. He is actually not just for a few hours, not just for a night. He's going to be here for a while. And that's something that our new temporary stay system allows. And one of the cool things I think about our temporary stay system is that we have Kyle coming over as a temporary stay that was sort of an opportunity from the game that presented itself, right? Kyle was like, hey, I'm your boy. I'm coming over. And you can be like, yeah, sure. Or I think the other option was like, I don't know you, man. I don't know who you are. But there are a variety of different kind of different. This is what I was talking about when I was. Oh, you're just, he's spilling some secrets. Do you want me to read this? I don't know what you want me to read. There's too much to talk about. No, it's okay.
I still want to pause.
Yeah, no. You just want to spend time with Kyle. Is that they're gonna? This is what I was talking about when I was talking about kind of like these story opportunities, right? These little kind of like the story prompts. Is that we have temporary stays that will show up and be like, hey, is this something that you want to add to your Sim story? Whether it's Kyle visiting, whether it's kind of extended family coming to stay over. I think family friends, there's one where they suggest that they come over because they're maybe going through a tough time and they need someplace to stay. An old friend that's crashing. I think there's like another one that's like a long lost family member that is trying to reconnect. But all of these have chances of kind of popping up and saying, hey, do you want to invite this temporary stay over to your home? You can see from the calendar that Kyle's going to be here for 6 days? And he's going to hang out and he's going to, be a kind of a true member of your household during that time. He's going to I think each of the different temporary stays maybe has a little bit of special behavior. You may
can
see
actually
Kyle.
ask him to help out, or you can ask him to relax. I asked him to help out because I want him to help out.
So he's going to maybe help with the kids, clean up, stuff like that.
If you're going to stay here, we got a lot of kids.
Yeah, you got to help out.
We have a lot of kids here.
We have a big family. Thanks for coming over. Really kind of contribute, please, Kyle. But the other thing, you had the calendar open. If you pop that back open, and you can't do it now because I think Kyle is here. But you can, and I don't want you to make him leave. I want him to stay. But you can also, through the calendar, initiate a temporary stay yourself. So if you're like, hey, we just had another baby. I'm doing a challenge. I'm having a lot of babies.
Her dad actually lives in another lot.
Okay.
And if Kyle hadn't shown up, I was going to have later on her call her dad and ask her dad to come stay and help out with the kids.
Yeah. And so that's something where you can initiate that as well. You can select a kind of like length of stay. I think it's something from like 1 to 6 days. And kind of start off that story yourself. So again, sort of like another kind of reflection of the goal in this pack, which was to give players the agency to kind of start these moments of drama themselves, or have them invited into moments of drama through like Kyle showing up and being like, you know what? What if I just crash for a little bit?
And we've had this in a few packs where there's like a special gossip interaction on like the townies that live there, and Kyle's got some delightful ones. So I'm gonna have you read these again in your surfer voice here.
So this is, you were asking Kyle.
I asked him about what's going on in San Sequoia, man.
I don't know, man. It's just been a week, Just, you ever see something you just can't unsee or get out of your head? Last week, I set my llama berry power sip on a bench while I was doing push-ups at the park, and a squirrel came by and knocked it over. Full can. Total waste. I'm clawing my way back to normalcy, man, but it's a long road. He loves his power sip. I think I was saying, some of them have some special things they might do while they're there. And I think you might see Kyle drinking some power sip or leaving some cans around if you have him over.
Yeah. So we'll see how Kyle does. He's already taking care of our baby here, helping out. Let's see, something I was going to show off before Kyle showed up was, by the way, I would like to point out our toddler has been sitting here this whole time.
Oh, in the high chair.
In the high chair.
Just chilling. not needing to be taken out.
Not needing to be taken out.
I'm really happy that we are able to kind of get that quality of life improvement for the high chair and get some of those annoyances that might be happening right now to
I'm thinking maybe let's look at the newborn stuff first.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, because we do have a newborn in this household as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we showed off some of the newborn stuff that is coming to base game. One of the cool things you might notice looking at our newborn and what they're wearing right now is that you also have the ability to change their outfit. We have a bunch of new outfits for our newborns, which are really, really cool.
My favorite is sophisticated.
Sophisticated.
So-
Is that because of the name?
Because
So
actually, it looks like a crab outfit to me. I don't see the fish,
Mhm.
but I like the name. Yes.
yeah, sophisticated. It does sound better than so crabticated.
Sophisticated. Yeah, that doesn't make.
But that's
much
really
sense.
cute. You have a bunch of new outfits that you can put on your newborns.
Yes. And you saw there is the kiss interaction. So
Yeah, and I think that's available from a variety of ages. As kind of Nova talked about, we wanted to, when we're looking at family interactions, one of the things we really wanted to do is make it so that a bunch of our ages, especially our younger ages, could interact where they could, right? Sometimes they're physically just like too small to do something, but
Mhm.
where we could, we wanted to add the ability to kind of like show affection to your family members.
yeah. So
And then one of the things, this will be a pattern that you'll see as we go up the ages as well, but we added a few different...
I think I accidentally had this off on accident, but I'd love to see some autonomy here,
Okay.
so I'm going to turn it
Sure.
on.
Some of the some temperaments to our newborns, so that every newborn will not be exactly
Oh,
the same.
yeah.
Some will be a little bit maybe needier, some will be a little bit easier to care for, and that's something that again you'll see. A pattern that was a goal, right? To really inject some of those younger Sims with a sense of personality and an additional sort of individuality as you have different kids to really see them shine as their own kind of being.
Speaking of personality and individuality, we just discovered something on our infant, and I think we're about ready to discover something also on our toddler here
Whoa,
at the
okay.
same time.
Yes.
So let's talk about
You want to talk about quirks?
toddler and infant quirks.
Yes,
Yeah.
let's talk about quirks. So quirks are a new kind of like, as the name might suggest, little quirks of personality that you might discover on our younger Sims. You can see that. So right now, this is Delaney, right? Delaney has the personality trait Charmer. That was set in Create a Sim. You also see this aggressive trait under the trait manual, which is a toddler quirk that we discovered. Every toddler and every infant will have 3 different quirks that you can discover. And from each of the age stages, those 3 quirks come from a set of 18, I believe. So 18 for toddlers and 18 for infants as well. And you can kind of tell from those numbers, there's a wide variety of possible. That's a lot of. I guess she's an astronaut. I was like, that's a lot of money to a bunch of different kind of combinations and permutations of the possible quirks that they could have. Right, taking 3 from that 18. And what I really love about it is it gives them. So you can see Leo here. We've discovered 2 of the 3 now. Sunny was the trait that we picked. But we also discovered that Leo frequently sneezes, super cute, and loves being held.
So right now he's really happy because he's being held.
Yeah, but it also might mean that if you put him down, he might get a little more upset.
Well, let's put him down. Let's see what happens.
But
he doesn't always get upset.
Yeah, but the thing that I really love about it is that you can have.
Nope, he did.
How dare you put me down? You can have infants and toddlers that you have given the same personality trait to in CAS or an age up. But you'll discover that they have these little quirks that really make them feel unique. And like I said, some of them are kind of little cute quirks, right? Like frequently sneezes. It means you're just going to notice that they sneeze a little bit more. But some of them, like aggressive or likes being held. I think there's one where they really enjoy sleeping in a Sim's arms as opposed to in a crib. They're going to change the way that you think about that Sim. They're going to change the way that you play with that Sim. And I really love that, like, these little things that you can discover about these Sims kind of affect the way that you raise them in a real kind of gameplay. Morgan, what did you do?
Kyle did it. No, he did it. I didn't do it. Kyle did it.
But
do I have an? I do have an alarm. The firemen.
It'll be fine.
okay.
But that's something that I really enjoy about quirks. Quirks on our infants and our toddlers. I don't know if you had anything else that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Quirks.
We added a cheat so you can
Maybe we should wait. Hold on. Let's wait for the alarm.
Sorry. Oh, Kyle. They broke our brand new oven that you can see comes with this expansion pack.
Doesn't look so good now.
No. So there's a new pack cheat for growing together where you can oops, I think I have the wrong person selected here.
Right, yeah.
And you can see they also saved the infant. Isn't that nice of them? But you can see there's infant quirks. You can remove quirks if you were like, well, I want to make my
if
kid
you're like making your infant and you're
I'm
like, they don't sneeze that much.
Yeah, so you're like, I want them to instead be gassy, or I want them to be a feeding tinkler.
Right.
You can go ahead and add your own or remove ones you don't want.
Yeah. Really nice. So like, another way of kind of keeping the control in the player's hands if they want to. I would encourage that you let them be who they are. You discover them. I think that's really fun.
It's fun.
But I understand that like sometimes you want more fine control.
It's like my new favorite thing whenever I get a toddler or an infant. I'm like, who are they going to be?
Who are they going to be?
Yeah. So,
But
yes.
yeah, as you saw, kind of we were discovering them. The other thing that's really cool is you discover them as they do things related to that, right?
Mhm.
Like I think you discovered that maybe Delaney was aggressive because she was like punching the bear or something, right?
Yeah.
So when they do things that kind of exhibit that behavior, that's when you see it come out.
And you can see too, there's you can see the icons now on the interactions.
Right, which is like that.
Yeah.
It's related to that
Yeah.
quirk.
Like I think probably play in water. She
Right,
loves
she loves
water.
water. There you go.
And you're gonna see them do that behavior more often. So yeah. Another thing, we just had a fire, right?
We did.
And before we also had a milestone pop up.
I think when Kyle came over, there was like first visitors or something like
Yeah,
that.
let's wake up Leo, and because I think we're gonna get another one. So while we talk about these,
Wake up.
he doesn't like wake up
Leo.
time.
It's gonna be a handful.
Let's see. I'm gonna start having us. Oops, I went to the wrong place. Friendly activities, tummy time together.
Okay, you're gonna spend some tummy time with
Yeah, she's gonna do some tummy
Yeah.
time with Leo,
Okay.
and let's talk about what we saw earlier, which was it was down here. We had first visitor milestone unlocked.
Yes.
For Leo.
And
And then
talk about what milestones might be.
we also just had a fire, so that's going to be interesting because I think that is also
Right.
one. So let's
yes, for an
think about
older
these.
son. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Milestones. So you can see we're back in the Simology panel. We were just looking at our traits here before, but now we're looking. If you scroll down, this milestones panel, entirely new. Love milestones. This is a huge thing that we added in Growing Together. Milestones are really a way that we wanted to be able to kind of show off the big events that happened in a Sim's life. You just got a new milestone. Roll over to back on Leo.
That's because I was doing tummy time.
You were doing tummy time together.
And I
You were
set it
kinda-
up so that I knew that they would be getting that milestone
It's
soon.
almost like we had a plan for the stream before we had a fire and everything went off the rails.
I wasn't planned.
No, that wasn't. So I think what's really cool about this is sort of he's drinking his power sip. Is that milestones are really important for our infants. I think they're doing something really cool for our infants. And then I'm going to reserve talking about them for our older Sims in a little bit. But you can see that with our infants, they have their milestones sort of divided into fine motor, gross motor, I think social. There's some other milestones like firsts that are going to be things that, or life milestones that are going to be more broad. But the thing that is really cool about milestones for infants is it's this kind of brand new way of allowing your Sims when they're parenting an infant, your infants when they're growing up, and you as a player to sort of track the progression of your infants in a sort of more specific way than just a skill bar, right? Like in ways that we've done before, where you've been gaining skills and your skill bar goes up and you go a different level. The milestones are sort of tracking, and if you've ever been a parent or been around a parent and talking with a parent of an infant, you'll know that milestones are really important in real life as well, in terms of like, what did my infant just do, right? What is the next thing that's up for them? That is sort of tracking the way that they are growing up, that they are getting toward the skills and kind of like physical abilities that they need to build as an infant. If you select one of our infants, you'll also see that we have these kind of like these milestones in here that are not fully colored in, that have the like dotted outline to sort of indicate what might be next for that infant. And so milestones for our infants are really about being able to see how far my infant has come. And the really cool thing is that some of these milestones really open up what interactions and ways to explore the world that the infant can now do. You're just going to cheat. You're going to unlock all of our milestones for our infant here. That's a lot. But like when we start off our infants in growing together, you'll see that they are starting off fairly young, right? Like right after being a newborn, they aren't able to move on their own. They don't have milestones like being able to roll over or sit up or anything like that. And so you need to take a lot of care of them. And then what you'll see is that as you gain milestones, you gain the ability to do some really cool stuff. So like we were talking about the high chair earlier, a brand new infant that doesn't have the sit up milestone won't actually be able to explore food on the high chair. You can do it with Leo because he's able to sit up. But another infant that isn't able to, you're not able to yet.
And like finger foods, you can't do it
Oh,
until you
that's
have
right.
the grab
Finger foods is,
milestone.
based
so
on
you have
another
to have that milestone.
And so like with our infants, what I think is really cool is you get to explore these milestones with the infant. And kind of as they unlock new milestones, really the world opens up for them in terms of being able to do things with more objects.
You can see here, Leo can play with toys. But like, let's say we take Leo off of this playmat and we go put down, Jenna here on the
And
playmat.
Jenna just aged up, right?
Jenna just aged up, and I haven't cheated Jenna. I did cheat Leo.
Okay.
So let's put Jenna there. So he can play with it, but Jenna can't do any of these things
and
that
you'll see
Leo
Jenna,
can do.
when we put her down, she's lying down, right? She can look at the toys, but she doesn't have all the interactions because she doesn't have those milestones. And so I think for our infants, the milestones not only serve as a way of kind of like tracking what progress they've made through their infancy, but really being able to give individual sort of events and skills that they're building that open up a lot of the ability to really interact with the world in new ways. And I think that's really cool. It makes our infants, for growing together, feel like they're growing up through their infancy and allowing you to see that through the milestones. But that's not like, if we had just made milestones for infants, I would already be like, whew, job well done, team. That was not enough, of course. We have milestones across all of our ages so that as you grow up, you continue to gain new milestones that are meaningful for that age. And I think it changes a little bit because after infancy, those milestones are not really about gaining the kind of like core abilities you need to really interact and explore with the world. They're more about tracking important events in your life, right? And I think when you look at milestones across all the ages, the two things that I think are really important to take away are, one, as a player, I think they're a really cool kind of almost timeline of your sim. Right? At the end of your sim's life, or like near kind of when they're an elder, you can look back on it and be like, what are all the things that my sim has done? And being able to see their milestones is just a really cool way of being able to track that over time.
These were all made at their current ages, but if they wouldn't have been, and I would have like aged them up over the years, you could actually like click on this and see and go back and
during
like
that age,
reminisce.
what happened to them? What did I do with them? Right? There are, and the other thing that I think is really cool is that each of these milestones has, for some of our bigger milestones, we have little bits of kind of ways to make sure that it feels like a bit of that sim's history. It isn't just an icon for you as a player to look at later and be like, oh yeah, this happened to them. So I'm going to talk about some of the good ones first, as you make a bad one happen to Ron. But we have things like Ron has a milestone for getting married because they got married at some point in the past. And getting married or like having a new child, going to school for your first day will give you some decorative items that you can put around your house.
We actually have them here. So we can see, like, this is their marriage certificate.
There you go, between Ron and Myra, right? Like, and so you have these
Baby
decorations that
prints.
remember who kind of instigated that milestone, and then they give you a way to decorate the house not only with these cool decoratives, but really give this lot a sense of history, right? A sense of the family that lives here, and I think that's really awesome. I think some of our Sims that with those kind of decoratives can have interactions to reminisce on them, depending on how they felt about that event or what age they are now. We have other milestones that can trigger sort of like future regret, I would say. Like you just had a milestone where you made Ron have a bladder failure. And his first bladder failure, you can see that the milestone remembers that it was here at Sequoia Cottage.
Which is their home.
Unfortunate that was at their home. But what that might mean is in the future, if he is on this lot, which happens to be his home, which he will be, and he, is kind of like waking up from sleep, or there's some other moments where he can like be potentially autonomously thinking back on his milestones, he might remember that his first bladder failure was here, and he might get a debuff that's like, that was embarrassing, and I'm still here, and that's not great. So unfortunately, because it's not like on a venue or something where he can avoid it, he sort of has to live with it.
Or they can move.
Or he has to move. He has to uproot his family and be like, you know what? We're moving. I peed on the floor here, and just I can't take it. But those are some really cool things. Like the first fire does that. I think if you, depending on where your first fire is, if you are cooking in that location for some time afterward, you might get a little extra stressed, right? And so like some of these milestones that, some of the more negative ones, I think especially, like have these sort of, these lingering effects that can carry on through your Sims lifetime.
Some other things we can maybe talk about while we're talking about Ron's life here.
Ron's kind of unfortunate life. He's also going through a midlife crisis. You really set up Ron to succeed here, Morgan.
Yeah, I mean, he's just pushing it down.
Yeah, he's just
down the crisis. He loves his family.
But midlife crisis is a new thing that can happen to our adult Sims. There are 4 different midlife crises. I was going to say 4, but I have 3 sloth fingers, so it looks like I'm saying 3. 4 different types of midlife crisis that can happen for your Sim. These are things that as your Sim ages and is growing up through being an adult, they can suddenly kind of feel like they're missing out on life. And you can see that Ron's is the desire for adventure. And what this does is it has him kind of come up with a bunch of goals that he set for himself to be like, you know what, to kind of like satisfy my desire for adventure, I really want to do these things right now. That would break me out of my midlife crisis. It would make me think I'm actually being able to get some adventure in my life that has been kind of a little bit boring so far. And these are optional. As a player, you can just be like, you know what? No, suffer through your midlife crisis. I don't care. But if you do fulfill some of these for Ron, what you'll see is that the midlife crisis lasts a little bit shorter. You'll get potentially a beneficial kind of moodlet after the midlife crisis is over.
Happier Sim.
Yeah, it depends on how happy you want to make your Sim. He also has a workplace rival right now.
Bella
It's
Goth.
another thing.
Not to be a rival.
Yeah, I mean, that's harsh. I know Bella is well liked among everyone, and so having to go up against her, this is something else that can happen if you are in a career. So Ron right now with Bella Goth as his workplace rival won't be able to get a promotion, right? There's some drama going on at work. This is another thing that can come up, and you can, when you are at work, you will have a couple of new options on your Sim skewer to be able to potentially do some positive or negative interactions with Bella to try and resolve it, and you'll get some, I think, fun kind of fiction out of that. You can invite Bella over and just like interact with her outside of work to try and resolve it. You can potentially, not that I would ever do any of this with any of my real life work rivals, you can take care of Bella. however you want to. And if Bella somehow just isn't on this plane of existence anymore,
So watch out,
she
all you
won't
designers that are
won't be your
making fun of
workplace
the
rival.
named worlds that Scott.
I'm just saying. There used to be sequoias in San Sequoia. But that's a fun kind of, again, a little bit of drama that we are adding into your adult Sims, right? Like one of the things that when we were looking at your Sims growing up and really wanting to cover the gamut of all of their age stages is that we have that growing up for infants and for toddlers, that personality that we're adding. When we were looking at adults, a lot of it was like, is there more interesting adult drama that we can add? And so, right, the midlife crisis does that. The workplace rival does that. We've added a burnout system so that if you're going too hard on a particular like skill building or working too hard, your sim may kind of indicate to you that they need a break. They need to do something that's different. If they're kind of like too mentally taxed, they may need to do something creative. If they've been just doing creative things, they may need to do something that's like a mental break from that. We added, there was another
Getting tired?
yeah, that's like, again, like I think I was like, we added the opportunity to be laid off, which is a weird way of putting it.
The age
It's
groups,
not
we added a lot of fun stuff. But for adults, we just made their
it's like,
lives dramatic.
Man, there's stuff that can happen to you that you need to deal with, but there are like positives that can come out of that, right? You can get laid off, and after there's actually what happens is that when you go to work, there's a chance the company is like going through restructuring or something that means they're going to be layoffs. You might be able to make it just through just fine. Maybe working a little extra hard during that period, right? Like you can survive that. If you do get laid off, we added some interesting kind of options afterwards, where some maybe if you have friends, they might come check in on you, and the ability to sort of like look for new jobs, knowing that you were just laid off. But yeah, it's a little awkward to be like, we added the opportunity for your sim to be laid off, but it is something new and growing together, and I think, yeah, it is. It is a story opportunity, I think, for our players, and making those adult lives feel fuller, right? And feel like your entire lifetime, there are things happening that you are, both drama that you're potentially dealing with, but also stories that are available for you to tell. Brand new stories that are really adding to all these layers of The Sims 4 as they are right now.
Especially like
Jen is
you.
unlocking some milestones too. Yes, you can see that these.
So we've talked about some stuff for infants and toddlers and adults, and some stuff for elders. Let's talk about kids a little bit too.
Okay.
So we talked about these aspirations that they have, but there's actually a lot of stuff we added for children. You might notice that they sometimes she's getting a confidence pop-up.
Oh, right, that's flying off of her head. I'm seeing that, and I'm seeing under the traits that she has high confidence right now.
Yep. Children can now have low, neutral, or high confidence. They start off with neutral, and this is kind of like a fluctuating trait throughout their childhood, depending on like how much they're succeeding at things or failing at things, and how like their caregivers are responding. I don't know if she's done anything recently for them to respond to, but for example, under friendly and then compliments, he can praise her effort and social growth.
Right. So she's gained social skill, and so like as a caregiver, or
he can criticize it,
and so that'll affect the child's confidence, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But also, like, I love, like, she could go on the monkey bars out here, and if she falls off, that's going to affect her confidence.
Right. So things that they're doing on their own, certainly the way the caregivers are interacting with them as well.
And you can see she's confident right now because, like, she believes in herself because she is confident. It's just going to make it kind of better. Versus if she has low confidence, she might get a fear that wasn't there before, and she's going to start, like, feeling, like, bad about things, and it might start, like, compiling, right? So
yeah, so it affects kind of their like day to day as well. I was gonna say, what happens when a kid ages up with high or low confidence?
They get a locked in trait that is either low or high self-esteem. If their confidence was neutral, nothing happens. But if they had high confidence or low confidence, that'll as a teen they'll have high or low self-esteem, and then that just carries with them the rest of their
and
life.
like do some of the same stuff where they will kind of show that through different moodlets that they may get when they're doing different things, even when they're older.
So I'm going to make her practice piano, even though she doesn't like practicing piano.
Okay.
Because number one, look, it's a standing piano that takes up 4 slots, not 6. And I'm just going to show it off really quick.
Beautiful. And I know that some of our, we had showed off this piano in some of our trailers, but I think we'd showed it off before with some of the really artful and beautiful kind of variants. But not necessarily the kind of just like core neutral tones. And so you can see that we have a bunch of them. Just have a brown one if you want to. It's not that exciting. I like the ones that have art on them, but a wide
like the little
variety
sticker
of
ones.
these pianos that are available.
Yeah. So, but we're gonna have her play some piano and check out some new stuff for children that we added in here when she gets here.
So she's playing the piano.
So she's playing the piano. Number one, you can see now when any sim is gaining a skill, they'll now have a icon for that skill they're gaining above their head.
Yes.
That kind of helps you. But for children, they actually, we've separated this out where children now have their fundamental skills, which were the skills you were already kind of
those seem
familiar
very
with.
familiar to me. Yeah.
But they also can gain certain adult skills that we felt like we could support or that we were supporting. And we can continue to add to this over time. They will gain adult skills at a slower pace than an adult would gain that skill.
Makes sense.
And they will gain these fundamentals now quicker than they used to.
Okay.
So these gain much quicker and these gain slower than if you were an adult.
Yeah.
But it kind of means now that like if she really wanted to work hard and try to improve her piano, that she could go to a teen already knowing piano. Whereas before, if she
Right.
played piano her whole childhood, she wouldn't, as a teen, know how to play piano very well.
Right.
So it's one of the ways that like the things you're doing as a child really matter and carry on the rest of their life now.
Yeah, that's a very cool update.
Yeah. I'm personally really excited about this one. Let's see. So
one of the things that I know we were looking at the midlife crisis for Ron. He had a goal that was to take an outdoor nap.
and
Right.
Kara also in her new aspiration has play pretend in treehouse.
Right. I know we have a treehouse somewhere in this pack. Oh,
I don't
is
look
that
like
it?
a treehouse.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's continue building on it. And then we'll have her come out here and maybe Mama Lumberjackson as well.
Okay.
So
Yeah, and I was gonna say the treehouse is a new object. You might have seen it in the trailers as
Mhm.
well. And it's something that you can build together with your family.
Should I jump in and tell them about the
Oh,
treehouse?
yeah,
Would you like to
please.
tell us about the treehouse? I've already started it, so it'll be done soon.
Go for it. I'm gonna grab a
Okay.
drink of water. Actually, I feel like I've been talking for like an hour.
Yeah, so you can see that we have a partially built treehouse here. When it's purchased, it's fully unbuilt base that allows multiple Sims to build together. So when a Sim starts to build, they just have to be a teen or older, and then children can join in as well to help out with the process. You'll see other Sims hammering different parts of the treehouse, pulling out blueprints, etc. But yeah, and then you see the
Look at
finished
it. It's built.
treehouse.
Yeah.
Once it's fully built, it becomes functional. Sims can go up and down via the ladder. They can play on the balcony and sit on the bench and interact with the enclosure. As you can see, Kara's about to play pretend or do other things as well too. But yeah, but basically, you can pop a decoration state onto the treehouse once it's fully built. And each of those decoration states are going to match different play pretend sort of scenarios that children can have. So
You want to put some decor on it?
Oh yeah.
yeah, so you
Oh,
can
sorry.
see.
I meant.
Oh wait, what?
I meant the different.
Oh,
the different
yes,
styles.
yes. Sorry. There's so much you can do with it.
It's okay. Yeah, so
okay.
there's the different decoration states that match each of the child Sims play pretend. So you can see Kara is playing pretend as a fairy tale princess, and you can decorate the treehouse to look like a fairy tale castle to match that, or like space, island castaway, whatever matches your child Sims ideas and what they prefer. On the enclosure, as you could see, we could have Sims relaxing or sleeping. We can also have adult Sims woohoo in the enclosure. So there is a new woohoo on the treehouse. And the treehouse can also be upgraded from this point too. So we have an awesome functional treehouse, but we can give it a bell because why not? A slide so Sims can climb up the slide or slide down it. Lights to keep the treehouse lit up, or a sliding pole that Sims can slide down to exit. You just need to have an adult sim with handiness, skill, and some upgrade parts, and you can add all these super cool parts to the treehouse.
Yeah, we added them through the magic of debug cheats here, but they are built like the treehouse, right? You're like your Sims go and kind of like work on it to add them.
And you can even, you can adjust the lights if I wanted on this one specifically. For this light, I can make it, you can't tell because it's daytime, but you can adjust them to be different too, so that's cool.
Yep, and it'll really shine at night as well when the color is changed. You can also place objects on the treehouse balcony. So as you saw earlier, you can drag on the small telescope. Basically a whole host of children's toys, activity tables, Blarfy, like the big stuffed animals, doll houses, a science table, VR gaming mat can go up there. So like there's a bunch of different options that you can place up there, and children or anyone who can use those objects will be able to interact with them.
Is there a way to find those easily?
Yes, so when you're in Build By, you can search for the tag placeable on Treehouse, and that will pull up a bunch of different categories for each of those objects, so you can easily find things that can be placed
nice
on there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool that you like once you put it up there, you're saying it is usable, right? Like it's so not just can you decorate your treehouse how you want to, you can actually then have, for example, Kara could look through the telescope while on the treehouse.
Yep.
Very cool.
Exactly.
It's like you can really customize the treehouse to how you want it to be.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I was gonna say like they're just none of them are going to work or going to school. They keep them home. We got to keep them home. One of the like I think I said this to the team as well, but I feel like the treehouse is one of, if not the like coolest objects we've ever made in The Sims 4. It is very big. It is very beautiful. It is so customizable. It's got all these like little kind of fun interactions that you can do. I don't know if you mentioned you can set like the entry rules as well.
Oh,
so you can be like, no adults, it's just kids, right? Or stuff like that. We have the enclosure that you mentioned with a bunch of stuff on there. So it's just, yeah, I really love this thing.
Another cool object we have for kids. Sure. Another cool object we have for kids is this bike. So I actually can't travel around or ride it. Why is that?
It's because I think you're a kid and you need to learn how to bike, Morgan. It's so one of the things that I think.
Oh, look, he just sabotaged his work rival.
Stuffed an old Harvest Fest skeleton into Bella's office drawer.
Funny story that there's actually a skeleton in my old desk drawer at work.
Is this based on a?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's based on a true story.
Nice. Really putting the best bits of ourselves into this game. So for our kids, right? Like our adults have bikes, and our adults can kind of ride bikes already because they're grown up and they know how to do it. But with our kids, we felt like it didn't necessarily feel realistic to be like our kids can just know how to ride a bike right off the bat. And so they actually need to learn how to ride the bike. And once they've done that, once they've kind of mastered being able to ride a bike, then they can use it as a vehicle for traveling, much like our adults can. So then they can kind of ride it around and they can take it to different lots and stuff like that. But we also added some cool things with it's a milestone if we can get Kara there. Your bear head does not want to stay out.
It's not.
We also, I think, to make it so that, because kids' bikes are cooler, kids' everything is cooler, right? If you go to the store and you're like buying an adult version of something versus a kid's version of something, kids' version of things are cooler. What's really cool about these kids' bikes, I think we have 6 new kids' bikes with variants. And what's cool is that each of the kids' bikes have like slightly different accessories. And so you can see this one has a horn. I think maybe this one has a light as well. If it was nighttime, we would see it shining. But there's like a horn and a light and like a noisemaker that can change even the way that it sounds when you're riding it. And depending on which kid's bike you buy, it has like a different kind of configuration of those sort of upgrades or accessories on the bike.
We also have some adult bikes as well. Yep. So adults have some bikes in this pack they can ride too.
Yeah, can ride them together. I think adults can help our kids like learn how to ride a bike, right? And that can be a milestone as well.
While you're trying to learn your bike, you can sometimes hit your head and make your tooth fall out.
Oh, right, loose teeth.
You can actually
Does
see.
she have a loose tooth right now?
She does.
does.
I cheated it right
That's why
now,
it has
so
that
it's why it
zero.
has
Yeah,
that because I cheated it on. But okay, yeah.
Ron's going for it.
Yeah, he's just sabotaging. I set him to sabotage work rival at work. He could also befriend them. So I mean, anyways, but she so she has a loose tooth, so we could wiggle it. But let's go ahead and just pull it out.
Oh, hardcore. All right. All right, so now your tooth is out.
Yeah.
Kara it no longer has a loose tooth, but now has like a missing tooth.
And we get her to smile here. We could see it.
She is.
Open your mouth. Where are you going?
You'll never see it.
I'll
She'll
never
open
see
her
it.
mouth.
Well, she has a tooth gap there where she lost her tooth. It's there.
Being very uncooperative. But you have a loose tooth now, and you can take that tooth, and you can, if you were to click on like her bed, for example, or you now can place the tooth under the pillow and go to sleep. And when she wakes up, she'd be able to.
It's time to hide the bed. You'll find a nice surprise from the tooth fairy.
And so when she wakes up, then you'll get kind of a nice little moment of a lost tooth fairy time.
I think she got a milestone. She got some new reward objects.
And some money as well.
Some money as well.
All right. Yeah, and this is like when we're talking about milestones, right? Like you get a cute little kind of like tooth certificate for your first tooth that you lost.
Yeah. I know a good place we could potentially put that tooth certificate. Maybe we check out these.
Oh, these little boxes?
These little boxes. We have 3 of them, kind of an ornate one. We have kind of a cheapskate. I don't know who named that. Workplace rival.
A cheapskate keepsake box, yes.
And a basic one.
Yes.
This is an elder sim, so she's able to designate this keepsake box as their family keepsake box.
These keepsake boxes are one of my favorite things in this pack because they're small. They're not super complicated, but when I talked about our milestones and the kind of decorative objects you got from the milestones, one of the things that I really love about this pack when I've been playing with it is that you really get to inject this sense of history with this pack that we haven't had an opportunity to do before. And our keepsake boxes, I think, are a great example of that, which is, as an elder, you can designate that this keepsake box, and you can rename it, right, is sort of the family keepsake box, is the memento that you want to pass on. And then one of the really cool things that you can do is you can then, if you are close enough with somebody else in your family, is you can then pass that on to that family member. And through that, you can have this sense of an object that has meaning for the family and is able to be is able to kind of like keep that meaning through generations, right? And you can see that it's also like a little kind of storage box. So you can put cool things into it. You can put things that have meaning, maybe milestones things, or maybe just like something that you think has meaning for the family, and be able to put that in it. And then the other interaction that's on here, ponder the meaning of family, is a fun little kind of interaction that lets you mess with family dynamics a little bit. So it lets you like use the power of kind of the legacy of your family to change a dynamic that might be set that you might not like right now.
You might also be seeing in her inventory, she has a friendship bracelet that was made by her. And Kara actually also has one.
Oh, okay.
This is a new object called the Friendship Bracelet Kit. And you can click on that to make friendship bracelets. We have some different ones that are all really cute you can make. And we also updated it, so if you have like Nifty Knitting, you could do it here,
table?
or you could do it on activity table. Or,
and like the knitting basket from Nifty Knitting, yes.
I
or
think
this,
the crochet box as well.
Oh,
or
cool. The cross stitch.
Cross stitch.
Yeah.
And so those are also objects you can do that, but we have to have a friend.
Right. So if you each have made a friendship bracelet,
Mhm.
you can then exchange them.
Or if it's a sim in another household, they don't have to necessarily have made one. But
Okay.
because they both live in the same household, we made them, so we
Okay.
can
So
exchange
Mama and
them.
Kara are gonna exchange friendship bracelets here.
Yeah, they are. So so Kara's gonna come here and exchange it. Slow this down. She says, "Hey, you wanna exchange friendship bracelets? You'd want to give me a friendship bracelet?"
Boom!
Of course.
Look at that. Super cute. So they've exchanged friendship bracelets.
And you
They
can see
now
it on their
have-
hands now.
Oh yeah, you can see it on
And you
their
can see
wrists, and they have
hers
each
was made
other's,
by
right?
Kara, and hers was made by Mama now.
Nice.
And they both have it on their hands. And they'll eventually get worn out and fall off.
Okay.
But for now, they have them.
They have a special friendship bond. I think we
Mhm.
added another really cool kind of like interaction that you can do while you're wearing each other's friendship bracelet.
I think it's under affection,
Yeah,
bracelet, buddy bump.
fist bump.
If you do this, Kara has another friend. And if she were to do this in front of Gonzalo, Gonzalo might get kind of jealous.
Oh, right, because he's like, why didn't I get a friendship bracelet? Why are you doing this bracelet buddy fist bump with somebody else?
Yeah, like, I thought I was your friend.
Right.
So we were pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can only exchange friendship bracelets with one sim, right?
Yes.
That's the rule. That's the rules of friendship.
You can also demand your friendship bracelet.
And I would. That's malicious. I
It
don't know
happened
if
to
I
me
would.
in school when I was a child.
Uh-huh. You were saying that you exchange friendship bracelets with someone, and then
Mhm.
they demand. Look, oh my! I cannot believe that you did that with Kara.
No, she's gonna have this memory with her grandma forever.
Um,
So sad. She was hurt.
would you give her a hurt sentiment?
But yes, this happened to me, and I'm still
Okay,
hurt as an
yeah.
adult. So
And then you
you
said
should probably last with her forever. You know,
Right.
she'll probably forever remember.
when Kara grows up to be a game developer and is doing a stream, she'll be like, "Remember that time that my grandmother demanded the friendship?"
And then I went to work, and they made me take the feature that had a friendship bracelet that made me remember that really sad moment in my childhood, and I
Yeah.
worked on it.
So really, I understand it's a really personal connection there. I think friendship bracelets are cool. I think you could tell some cool stories there, as you can see, and then some really cool touches in terms of being able to wear them.
Some other things to show off. We've got this play mat that they can play on. Over here we have a
Oh, the
a
changing
diaper changing table. Let's see if we can have her just use her diaper
table.
really quick.
Use their diaper recently, right?
Yeah. And if she uses her diaper, then we can actually change her diaper. And this also works for toddlers who have changed their diaper as well,
Mhm.
but not for Delaney because Delaney's potty trained.
Okay.
I mean, she is, if she used her diaper, she
Sure.
would still do it.
Yeah.
But she's not
But she
trained
wouldn't
because
use
she's
her
a
diaper.
big
Yeah,
girl
she's-
now.
Yeah, these changing tables are really cool. The thing that I really like is that you see there's a little you see there's a little kind of like diaper pail trash can. You got the pee on caregiver milestone.
Woo!
Nice. Is that some of these milestones are just a little bit sillier? Is that the diaper pail trash can is kind of like right next to it, is attached to it. What happens is if you have that attached to your changing table, is the diaper automatically gets put in there. So you don't have to worry about diaper trash. If you don't, then the diaper shows up on the floor. You have to clean it up eventually, or maybe Kyle will take care of it while he's here or something like that. But that's, I think, a cool little touch with our changing tables.
Another thing, let's just see if we can teleport her there. You let me cheat.
I don't know if she was being carried.
Oh,
she's in the high chair.
Let's have her let her out really quick.
Okay. But you were
I
saying
mentioned we would show off what you can do here with these baby proofing things, but so this is baby proofed, and you can see she can try to break loose now. So that's like a fun way to play with wild toddlers,
right?
Who may
Like,
succeed
even
or
if
may
you
not
baby proof
succeed.
something, right? There's a chance that they have a breaking out.
Yeah, so that's pretty fun. She did not succeed.
She did.
Oh, she did.
She's out.
Oh, she can't be contained.
But that's cool. That's a cool kind of like little baby proof and gate thing.
Mhm. So let's go ahead and we also have some other cool objects around here. We have this
We have too much
celebration
stuff.
cannon.
We have too much stuff.
That might be good for some events
Mhm.
we could talk about.
Yeah, we have 3 new events. I don't know if we have time to actually do them in the stream.
Mhm.
But we have 3 new events, which are a baby shower.
Mhm.
And that is something that we wanted to make available kind of for all of our new baby stories. So you don't need a pregnant sim to have a baby shower, right? Maybe you're telling an adoption story, or something like that. We have a new family reunion
Oh,
event.
yeah, if we wouldn't be able to remove ourselves from the screen for a moment, I kinda
Oh, or
surprised and did this out of order. I'm sorry.
a family reunion event and a slumber party event. And the slumber party event also kind of shows off our new. I was going to say shows off, but really, like, it's useful to use with our new sleeping bags.
Mhm.
I know that we probably want to look at some other places in the world, so I don't know how much we want to go into any of these in particular, but they're all really cool events that kind of are, again, helping you tell the story of a new kind of member of the household joining, whether you have kids that are kind of like wanting to throw a little party of their own and have a sleepover. That slumber party can be held in the home, can be held in certain venues as well to have like the lock-in effect of like we're in the, we're out and like having a sleepover somewhere else, and a family reunion that is sort of gathering, makes thematic sense of gathering the family together. But that canon is, I think, useful at any event that you might throw. Potentially is a good celebratory object for something like a baby shower.
And you might have noticed that I could also add these events and throw them while we have somebody staying over. So
That's right. So
that's one of the nice things is
the
like
stayover doesn't stop you.
So you could be like, hey, mom and dad, come stay with us. And then while they're over, you could throw a family reunion.
Yeah, totally.
As a reward for the family reunions, you also get these really awesome picture frames that I filled in with pictures of our family from around various places.
Oh, these are so cool. These are one object, right? But they're like collage frames. So each of the little frames can contain a different photo that you put in there. And I feel like that is just such an easy way to kind of customize your lot with decoratives with pictures. And so, yeah, these are awesome. But these, like you said, these are rewards from the family reunion event.
So it's kind of late at night. Let's go ahead and have Ron and Mira go out together for like a late night date night to the anchor point. We'll go here to our new library. This one was built by Deligracy. And we'll take a look around this neighborhood. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the Anchor Point Wharf, Rach?
Hey, yeah, I'm happy to, although I'm still emotionally recovering from Kyle Kyleson starting a fire. I just needed to say, I think that is Sim Guru O'Connor's finest design moment. Not the fire, just Kyle. But anyway, so here's Anchor Point Wharf, and we were kind of thinking about this as feeling a little bit closer to that city vibe that we wanted. So a lot of the buildings here kind of look like they've been reclaimed. When I pointed out Bayani Robles before in the prior neighborhood, he's one of those founding fathers. We thought of him as somebody who is kind of creating the fishing trade in this area and canning, and it kind of built up from there. The Robles family is still present. We'll see them in another neighborhood, but their family house is, the main one is down here. My favorite thing about this is I wanted this to feel like kind of you could see the original house and then the addition as this family kept expanding out. I felt like that was really emblematic of this pack, just watching as your family grows and grows and you're trying to figure out what to do there. So that's their lot. And then let's see, what else do we have here? We have a nice little square area where there's a piano that you can come out and play. There is a food stand that you can visit. Yeah, I love this food stand so much. So you can stop by, get a little bit to eat, get some samosa, and go from there. And let's see, I think the main thing, aside from the library, which I also just love because it's so family friendly, we have a little area set up for parents. And oh, is that Bernice playing piano? I
This is
love
one
it.
of our premates,
Hey,
one of our
Bernice.
Robles family.
Yay! I love this piano too. I play piano, so this is huge for me. But yeah, let's take a look then at this date night area, the movie theater. This is one of my favorite things because we kind of just kicked around an idea of, well, you should be able to see a movie here. And that blossomed into this entire experience, which is being able to see a variety of genres together or by yourself. Yeah, it looks like we're going to go pick out something romantic because it is a date, isn't it? You can see different genres reflected on the outside and with the sound as well. And when you go into this theater, while you're not able to see it yourself, things do happen in there. There may be some riveting events that take place when you're there. Sorry, I'm so bad at puns. I'll stop. That's the only one. I swear. But yeah, just chance to kind of get a movie and see how you feel about it. Let's see how they
Yeah.
feel.
And you saw that there are different genres of movies. I also I know that like depending on your Sim's personality, there are different chances that they may like or dislike certain genres.
Like
right?
a sim that doesn't like children isn't going to like this child family
Sure.
movie. But like a sim who likes romance is probably going to be pretty down for Pax and Prejudice, which
Oh,
they
yeah.
turned into
They
a movie.
adapted it.
They
That was a
adapted
book,
it.
right? Yeah.
Yes. It always makes me think of the Sims 3 movie theater, which is really nostalgic for me. So that's nice, I think. And I love the way this lights up at night. I
Yeah,
think they did an
it looks
amazing
really
job
cool.
with that. You can also see the fog rolling off the bay at night, which I think is really cool and also amazing. And the way this like bridge lights up and you
yeah.
can see all the cars on it.
All right, so they came
Okay.
out of this movie.
So she liked
Oh,
it.
swoons galore.
I think it looks like he liked it
Oh,
too.
what a successful date night.
Oh,
Look at that.
them.
Yeah.
Aw.
And they say romance is dead.
It's not.
You just gotta go watch an adaptation of a Jane Austen book starring werewolves.
I wanted to show off this library too, because we have a lot of new assets here that are really great for children libraries. Like these bookshelves, which are interlockable. This is like an end to this bookshelf, so you could build it like that. Upstairs, we have more of these bookshelves and like different layouts. And Deli did a great job building this library here. That's like a really cool family-friendly one.
Yeah.
You can see our new changing table here. It's like a public changing table.
Oh yeah, the ones that kind of fold down from the side, from the wall.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
And like a little nursing room here for the infants. And I think, and this awesome little play area. I think it's a great library. Okay. So let's go ahead and travel to the other neighborhood as well.
Got one more neighborhood, right?
Hmm?
And this one contains, I think, a new you're
Well,
taking everyone.
Let's
Even
bring
the
the firemen too.
No, it's
Oh, no, I
too
can't
many
bring
people.
that. Okay. Fine, we'll just bring our family.
Contains our new venue.
Do you want to tell us about this neighborhood as well, Rach?
Yeah, I would be happy to. We'll talk about the venue in a second, but once we load in, I just want to talk in general about Gilbert Gardens, which is, I mentioned before, we talked about Old Stumpy and mentioned that was, the last remnant of our sequoias. Our friend Gilbert Gilberts is responsible for the deforestation of San Sequoia. This park area, I was kind of thinking about it as his estate that he so graciously gifted to everyone after he passed away. So you can kind of see his old house here. There's a nice little lake here where you can fish and, yes, swim and do more. You can even walk around it. You might want to keep your eyes peeled for White Claw the crocodile. I don't know, he might not be out right now, but,
See some
be
bubbles?
wary. Be wary.
Oh, maybe there.
We'll just see the bubbles now, but
Okay.
yeah, never know. So yeah, again, there's a little space where you can do some group walking, and let's see over here by that's the rec center. We'll go back to it in a sec. The splash pad. So
man.
this is okay.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite things in the world. We have to zoom in on my buddy Whalebert over there. Yeah,
I'm
Whalebert.
gonna fast forward so maybe it can be morning by the time. I'm sorry, the timing wasn't great.
Oh, that's
It's
all
all
right.
right. Whalebert looks good in any light.
He does.
Right, he
He's the
does.
star of this pack.
But we wanted to kind of create this sort of family-friendly thing and just a little splash pad that kind of grew into a big splash pad, honestly, where you can play in the water, watch it, obviously stomp playfully. It might be a great place to bring your dog, I think. I don't know. Just if you're up for that sort of
Even an
thing.
infant if you're holding it.
Yes, even an infant if you're holding it.
Yeah,
So,
we didn't get a chance to at our home lot because there was just so much to look at. This is obviously for this neighborhood sort of like bespoke. Our environment team put this together. It looks incredible. But what's really cool is I think almost all of these pieces that you see here are available in the catalog, and you home or on another venue can set it up kind of how you want, right? Each of these kind of like taller mushroom ones.
Even different mats that are different
That aren't
shapes and
here.
different colors.
Yeah.
And you can like design your own for your own lots. It's really cool.
Yeah, so this is not just like this isn't the only splash pad, right? Like you can create one at home, but you can also you have the ability to customize based on all of these pieces, which I think is also really really nice.
Yeah, it's a little bit of extra fun if you like that sort of thing, and I hope you do. So yeah, let's move away from that splash
Nah.
pad, and I want to go to the rec center now. I want to talk about rec
Oh
center.
yeah, let's go look at that.
Yeah.
So this one was built by Lil Simpsy.
Yeah, and so what I wanted to go for here was I come from a smaller town where you kind of wanted a central place to do everything, and that's what I was hoping for. So you could come here to make art, play musical instruments. You can come here to work out if you want, just hang out. It's great to book for an event if you wanted to. I know Scott already talked a little bit about some of the events that we can have here. If you wanted to book a lock-in, this is your spot for it. And yeah, there are the instruments, and of course the clown painting, which was super important for me to add. I may be a bit of a clown freak, but we won't talk about that today. So what I really
We'll
want
have
to zoom
another
in
full
on,
stream for that.
yeah, gotta save that for another day. Those game tables, though. So one of my favorite things we added this pack are symbols and puzzles. I really wanted to create an area especially for elders to come to and socialize, hang out, and just do whatever they want. So obviously there's a chessboard, but this is mainly for me about the symbols and the puzzles. If you wanted to show that
Wait,
off.
did you say puzzles?
Oh, did I jump the gun? Yes, puzzles.
So they're playing symbols right here, but they can actually change the game to cards, and I think there's some others if you have other packs. But also puzzles, which is my favorite to do here. So let's have her. She changed the game to puzzles, and we can actually choose a puzzle.
Okay.
There are a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like a lot of
Different
puzzles.
categories, different sizes, but I saw an option here, custom puzzle from reference.
Yes, this is delightful. So we'll do that.
So this allows you to take a take a picture, like our kind of paint by reference, right? And then that becomes a puzzle that your sim works on. And then when you finish it, it'll look like that picture that you took.
Yeah. So oh, she stopped doing that. Oh, she's gonna keep doing it. And we're gonna have her while she's doing this. There's a mischief interaction. We're gonna have Kara steal a piece.
Oh, Kara's gonna come over.
Yeah.
And take one.
Yeah, she's a little bit mischievous here. So she's going to come and steal a puzzle piece while they're working on it. Just
Oh, okay.
Swipe it.
Yeah.
Nobody saw.
Yeah. Got a piece now.
Yeah. And they're gonna keep working on this. Something I love about the rec center is while I feel like I'm here, I regularly have kids and come by and
It's
like
a nice kids area.
it's
Yeah.
a nice place
It
to
really
meet
is
other
a
kids.
place kind of for families for all ages. Like there's a lot of stuff that you can just kind of hang out and do here.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna fast forward because I want to see it made.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, I wanted it to be really just for all ages appropriate. And I think Lil Simsy just did an amazing job building this one. And I hope that there's a lot that everyone else can do when they're making their own if they wish to. But yeah, just something for everyone. While they're building, I forgot to mention something kind of important. It actually popped up earlier with Kyle Kyleson, but I wanted to highlight that I mentioned lore a couple times when I was talking. If you're somebody who's really into lore, I am, you can run the Share Sequoia Secrets interaction on some of our pre-mades if you want to learn a little bit more about them. There's some stuff that I put in. I had hinted before about the Michelsons with the name. If you're a little bit curious to know what's going on there, you can kind of run that to find out more about Celeste's history in particular. It's really important to me personally. And also just for everybody else, if you want to learn details about the Sims themselves or the area, that's the way to do it.
Nice. They're done here, but it looks like
There's a piece
because
that
she
was
stole the
stolen.
piece, there's a piece missing. So you can still like frame it and you can be like, we're done, right? Like put it up, I guess. But she still has the pieces. Can Kara?
She did, and she stole the finish.
Okay, so she put it back.
We
It's a
can
full
also
puzzle
frame
now.
it.
Yeah. And you can see that there's that lovely puzzle from reference that now you have.
And you can put it on the wall. You can put it in your
Take it home.
keepsake box.
Yeah,
for
very
your
cool.
family.
Very cool. Do we want to? I don't know that there's too much more.
I did
that we
want to
wanna-
show off the walking paths.
Yes. Okay. Let's send them for a walk.
So I'm gonna teleport them over here just to get them here quickly. Maybe stop what you're doing. So this is something that's really fun we added for elders. Around this neighborhood, there are 3 different walking paths. You can see them on their signs here, but you can choose to, is she leaving?
I think she was running off,
Don't leave, please.
and she was already starting a walk. They have their own ideas.
Okay, so we're gonna do this right now, but there are 3 different of these paths around this neighborhood you
Mhm.
can find with different length of trails.
I think our car ran off to do something, so you might need to wait for her to come back.
I don't know where
Maybe
she's
she's
going.
walking already. But there's one around the lake, right, which is kind of the
Mhm.
biggest one. There's one around the pond, which is the smallest one, and then there's this middle-sized one about around the arboretum.
I think Grandma started without her. She's
Yeah.
like, "I'm done waiting." But they'll go for these power walks, and you can do this as a group. I would suggest, well, not while they're leaving the neighborhood already, but they'll kind of stop along the way and drink or stretch,
Mhm.
and then also I wanted to show out that like while she was doing this,
Yeah, she's gonna go around this kind of like bend here.
they react to the neighborhood with like some of these certain things. So like here they've got the fun topiary, so they'll get a
Okay.
buff for that.
Yeah. So like there are special points around each of these neighborhoods
Mhm.
where if you're near them, I think there's one near like Old Stumpy potentially, where you'll
Or
get a
like the
sense of just
fisherman
like
statue.
yeah,
Yeah.
kind of the points that might put your sim in a certain mood, but also just like give them a little bit of sense of location.
Yeah, like a way that they're reacting. Another thing I think would be neat to mention, let's see if I can leave early.
Okay.
And then bring him here.
Yeah.
Is we didn't really show this, but they have made a self-discovery.
Oh, right. Yeah, this is one of those things where it's like it's a little bit random, or it's not quite
Yeah.
random, but there's stuff going on in the background, and we just didn't get a pop up.
I was hoping we would get a pop-up
Right.
during the stream.
But self-discovery is really cool. You might be, maybe you noticed where you look at Ron and his traits, and you might be like, wait a second.
That's a lot of traits.
Does he have? This is soul music. I love it. He's got an extra trait, doesn't he? And that's because with our new self-discovery system, and again, I wish that it had just kind of popped up so we could show it, but again, it's a simulation. You have moments, depending on how you're playing your sim and what they're doing,
Mhm.
that behind the scenes, we're sort of tracking that. And there are moments when it can pop up and say the game, that how you've been playing Ron, for example, and says, what did he discover here? This was
He got ambitious.
So it
and
might
I
have been when
think
he
it
got
was for a
promoted or something.
promotion,
Okay.
And then actually,
And so, like here, Ron might have gotten promoted, and at that point, the game would be like, oh, it seems like Ron was promoted, or Myra got perfectionist from.
I think she had got a skill to 10.
Okay, so when she got a skill to 10, there are moments where the game reacts to that, and it's like, hey, it seems like your sim did this thing. Does that mean maybe they're this trait?
Mhm.
And it gives you a pop-up that allows you to accept it or not. So you can be like, no, I'm not playing them that way. But it also is another way that growing together allows your sims to sort of evolve. And the game gives you these great opportunities to say, hey, it seems like you're playing your sims this way. Maybe you want to add this family dynamic. Maybe you want to add this new trait. Maybe you want to add this like or dislike based on what's happening right now. And I think this is really cool because it just adds this personality trait to your sim. Another thing that can happen is if you have like opposite personality traits, if you have a slob and you end up cleaning up a lot, the game might be like, you're not really playing this sim like a slob. Do you want them to be neat instead? I'll get rid of slob for you and I'll put in neat instead. And I think that's really cool, again, in terms of like growing together, allowing your sims to grow and evolve in a way that we haven't really done before. I think through self-discovery, your sim can gain up to a total of a cap. The cap is like 6 total personality traits that they can get. So they can get 3 more through self-discovery.
Yeah, it's fun for story.
Yeah.
And just playing the game and seeing how things go with it. I've really enjoyed this and like finding the different ways you unlock them. I think so. That seems like a pretty good overview of our pack of growing together.
Yeah, there's so much in this pack. I am so excited for people to get their hands on it and start playing with it. I think like it deepens your relationships. It makes your family matter more. It gets drama in your game. It makes all of your sims feel better. I think it's hard to go back to playing without this pack once you've played with this pack. It's going to release worldwide March 16th. You can get it on EA app for PC. You can get it on Origin if you're on Mac. You can get it on Xbox, on PlayStation. We're everywhere now. I think it's on Steam. It's on Epic Game Store. You can message me and be like, send me a copy. And I won't. I'll tell you where to get it. But I can point you to the right places. But and then the infant update comes out 2 days before on March 14th. I think that's our stream for today. For everyone. That's for everyone on all those same platforms as well.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us. There's even more than we got through, but
I think we did pretty well.
I think we did pretty good.
It has been
Sloth, you went pretty fast.
Thank you. Thank you for being the one controlling all of our Sims today, Morgan. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Frost, for keeping us on time.
Bye.
Bye.